Welcome back to another episode of your favorite locals. Woo! Locals. The world feels a little chaotic right now. So what better time than to sit down with two Reno comedians, Nathan Holland and Will Brisson, to get their take on what's going on. In this episode, we talk about current events, the world of comedy, and what it really means to be funny. But trigger warning, this one is definitely on the raunchier side. Opinions were shared, and if you don't agree with them, that is A-okay. We're just here to start the conversation. So if you feel some type of way, share your thoughts in the comments below or DM us, text us. But please don't forget to follow wherever you watch or listen. That helps us more than you can even imagine. So with that, let's get into the episode. There's obviously a gold tooth that's in your mouth.
There is a gold tooth. Do you want the full story? Because to do that, we have to go back to when I was a kid.
Yeah, let's do it.
So when I was a kid,
No, how he got the story of how he actually got it is hilarious because he has like a friend that's like Dr. Mengele. He's like and he's like, Will, I'll give you a tooth. He's like, I'll fix your tooth for free, but you gotta let me do it gold. And he was like,
basically what happened. Yeah. So a buddy of mine, long story short, when I have a friend who has another friend who's a dentist. Got to know the guy. He's pretty cool. Friend of a friend. The tooth was like chipped, like 3/4 of it was chipped off because the whole thing was already fake. That happened when I was a kid. So the chipped part, it'd been like that for a while.
So bad.
It'd been like that for a while. And then my buddy had his birthday and I was sitting next to the dentist. And we were chatting and he was like, do you ever think about getting it fixed? And I was like, yeah, but I don't have insurance right now. And he was like, oh, well, you ever think about doing it in gold? And I was like, not really, man. No. And he was like, well, if you let me do it in gold, I'll do the labor for free. You just got to pay like the fee to have the lab make it. So I got like a $2,400 gold tooth for $200.
Okay, hold on. But how much
savings.
would like
Oh,
a regular tooth been?
Like 18.
1,800?
Yeah.
But he wouldn't do that labor for free.
You wouldn't do that labor for free.
So how much would it total have been?
It would have been like 24,
Okay,
but I got it for 2.
but you got it for 2.
Oh yeah.
And how does your girlfriend feel about this?
You know, she accepts it. I wouldn't say she likes it.
She licks it.
She thinks it's better than when it was chipped.
I mean, wait, so your tooth for your majority of your life was just chipped?
No,
and
so
you
when I
didn't
was a
fix it?
kid, I knocked it
Here it
out
comes.
sledding. I was on a metal saucer and I hit like an ice wall and it hit me in the face. And then it was my adult tooth, so I got it fixed and had like a normal white tooth. Had that for probably like 10, 12 years. And then on spring break, we went to Lake Havasu. This is like 2015. And because the whole tooth was fake, I used to have this party trick where I'd pop beers open with it.
oh, you fucking
Yeah.
dumbass.
So when I was in Lake Havasu, the funniest part about it is, so I don't remember actually what happened. Because I blacked out. I woke up the next morning, like that scene in The Hangover, when I was like, what the fuck? And like, it was gone. Looked like a hillbilly. And then I didn't have insurance. So it was like that for like,
Oh my God.
6 years.
God.
6 years?
Well,
And the
somebody
funniest
should
part
do
is
something
like,
about that.
I got insurance at one point, but I was like, I don't really want to waste my, it is
I
what
don't have
it
my
is.
time off.
Exactly. I don't have PTO. I work at a fucking warehouse. So yeah, no, it was just chipped. And then, yeah, now it's gold.
Okay, so
You were
once you had a gold tooth, is that when you and your girlfriend started dating?
No. So we started dating.
When you had a chipped
tooth is
tooth?
pretty
Yes.
recent.
Yeah. No, the gold tooth is like within the last year or two.
Okay.
But no, so so she went to Galena, I went to Minogue. So I had one of my best friends went to school with her. So I met her a little bit in high school. And then in college age time, so like
Yeah.
2015 to like 2018-ish, she went to UNR and we had like the same friend group. So got to know her there. We didn't start dating until like 2020.
And was she like, what happened to your tooth?
No,
I don't
yeah.
remember it being like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. She did.
And was she like, are you going to fix that?
She accepted it. It's weird. Honestly, when I had the chipped tooth, I still got like a weird amount of pussy for being a guy with a chipped tooth. Don't know why.
Didn't
It's
look
the
that bad.
confidence. It's the confidence.
It worked. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, so I never really needed to get it fixed until I met the dentist guy and he was like, I'll do it in gold. And here we are.
What did your family say?
Oh, so my mom, the first thing she said was, oh my God, it's not like you're an athlete or a rapper.
Do you talk about that on stage?
I tried it, but no,
Too much context?
yeah, I think so. And then my dad just kind of laughed and was like, at least it's fixed.
He asked us, by the way. He was like, "Hey, Michael, Nathan, my friend gave me this offer, and he was being all coy about it. He was like, he said he would fix my tooth. It was just like he would make it gold." I was like, "What?"
What was that
"Oh,
last part?
He's gonna make it gold. I was like, he's gonna make it gold. And Michael is an asshole. He was instantly like, "Do it." That was amazing.
I can see him doing that.
And I'm like staring. I'm like, "Will, don't listen to him. He's pointing you in the wrong direction. Like, really? Like, look at him. He's laughing." And Will was like, "I don't know. We'll see."
I'm going to do it.
And then he's like,
to do it.
like 2 weeks before, he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm doing it." And Michael's like, "Will, I think it's really gonna look really good." And I
No,
was
he
like,
didn't.
Oh, 100%
I
he
can
did.
picture that
And
in
he
his
was
voice,
right.
too.
Look, here's the
He
thing.
was right. Listen to
he
him.
was right.
Here's the thing, okay? It doesn't look bad.
It doesn't.
It looks like a gold tooth, but it doesn't look bad.
No,
is
it
fitting.
doesn't.
And this is the thing about people being afraid to be assholes. I'm gonna go ahead and point it out right now. You guys are assholes because it does look fucking
It looks
bad.
good.
No, I was telling him earlier. I was like, it looks like your other tooth. Like it looks like
perfectly
it could have
sized.
grown out gold.
Perfectly fit.
Oh my god.
It's character
The
development.
funniest thing about it is my nieces. I've got like 3 nieces. I think they're like 2, 4, and 6 or something. And they ask me all the time, like, how'd I get a gold tooth? And I just tell them, like, oh, the tooth fairy brought it to me. So they think the tooth fairy will give you a
No
gold
way.
tooth. Yeah.
Awesome.
I told them, like, you got to brush your teeth. It's got to look really good. And then they'll
Do they
bring you a
want gold teeth now?
Yeah. Oh, they 100%
grills.
do. They
They're like,
100%
please,
do.
tooth fairy, bring me a gold tooth. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
one of them has a loose tooth. I just saw her like a week ago, and her tooth is loose, and she's like, "I've been really brushing. I think I'm gonna get a gold one." I'm like, "All right, Emery, whatever you say, you little
That's
fucking
awesome.
idiot." Have fun.
Wait, they should. Her parents should actually put like a gold tooth.
Oh, my sister would never.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. My sister thinks it's. My sister gets so annoyed with like. I love my nieces, and they love me. Like they're so fun to hang out with and play with. But like, I'm gonna like. They're not my kids, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna mess with them a little bit.
Right.
My sister hates it so much, and it's the funniest thing in the world to me when I get to like
Is she
like-
older or younger?
older.
Okay.
But yeah, they think like I told them the Easter Bunny was like a mutant.
No.
Yeah.
Eh.
Like I was like, don't ever you never want to get caught by the Easter Bunny because he actually eats kids. So they're just like
He's
one of
rabbit man.
one of my nieces is afraid of the Easter Bunny.
That's so
That's
funny.
awesome.
My uncle told me that the Easter Bunny wasn't real. And that's
Hmm.
also when I found out about Santa.
Mm.
And it was just all downhill. And he was like, I thought that you knew. And I was like in 5th grade. I was pretty
Damn,
old.
you
Oh, way late bloomer.
I was a late bloomer.
Oh, that's
I really
embarrassing.
believed. I know.
That's so embarrassing. I learned Santa wasn't real. I think it was in like the 3rd grade because I got a skateboard for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I remember leading up to Christmas, I saw the same one at Target. And I was
Yeah.
like, Mom, I want that. Get it for Christmas from Santa. 2 weeks later, I'm in the garage and I find the box that it came in. And I was like,
Santa left
I
it.
just brought it inside and like set it in front of my parents. Was like, Santa's not real. And then just
we have
like
something
stormed
to talk
off.
about.
Dude, I was like probably like 6 and we did Santa and then like my dad saw that I was super hype about Santa and I was like, yeah, I love Santa. And he got super jealous. So then the next year he wrote on it from the fictional character known as Santa that is actually dad buying all your gifts.
Give
Right
credit where credit's
on.
due.
Yeah, and then he would get mad at me when I told all the other kids. I was like, fuck you, dude. You ruined it for me. I'm ruining it for everyone.
I can see that.
I
Yeah.
think because my dad dressed up as Santa, like we had like immersive experiences
yeah.
for the North Pole. Like my dad literally would like write letters with me to the North Pole and I would get letters back that was like dated with the North Pole. Like,
North Pole time.
And then like a signature of like
NPT.
and
Yeah.
PT.
like it they literally I just believed it for so long. And like the kid I don't know, I didn't really talk about it with people.
Right.
I wasn't like, yeah, I still believe in Santa.
Well, especially when you're 12 and you're like, God, I want to be friends with people, but I know Santa's real.
I found out because I staked out the couch, like hiding behind it one night, and saw my dad come out and eat all the cookies, and then
Yep.
just drop boxes, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
He's not even like setting them nicely.
It was a miserable Christmas morning. I was literally just like, "Thanks,"
Yeah.
like just being a little shithead about it. All right, I wanted to do this thing because we're gonna start like a new segment every time we do the podcast where we swag out our guests. So I got you guys each a little something.
Oh,
Please be the new
swag.
Kanye merch. Please be the new Kanye merch.
So Express is for Nathan and Tilly's is for Will.
Oh, nice.
Let's see
Check
what
those out. Tell me what you think.
Cold.
Oh, oh, it's an
Oh.
ice. Oh. You got to take a knee, or do we do it from the seat?
There's no knee.
There's no
Room.
knee.
Get your knee off my neck.
And we start off hot. This is beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
This man
Look
has
at you
experience.
go. You guys have.
really knows how to open the throat.
You're still going? What is wrong with you?
That was beautiful.
I was enjoying it.
Gentlemen,
You're
you've been
enjoying
iced.
You're not iced? All right, faggot, whatever.
The guy likes what he likes.
That was beautiful. You've both been deported. All right, we got you one-way tickets to Mexico. Let's introduce you guys. So we have Will Brisson, Nathan Holland. Thank you
How's
for
it
joining
going?
us. You guys are-
Excited to be
We
here.
are live.
We're live.
we are
have
live.
About 1 million people watching. So.
Oh, gosh.
Excellent.
Mom, hi.
Is this thing on?
You guys are both comedians here in Reno. I
Yep.
think you're both very funny. You push the envelope in ways that I appreciate and no one else seems to do. I fucking love it. Your shit is always down pat, super tight, and your crowd work is phenomenal. You did a great little Batman back and forth.
You do what you can.
It was
Do what you
great.
can.
So thank
Sometimes
you for joining
Batman's
us.
what you can do.
Yeah. Wanted to have you guys on just to chat because I get to talk to you every week, but I actually don't know much about either of you. So
Yeah.
I'd like to learn a little bit about you.
Let's do it.
Tell us about your background. Where are you from?
Oh
How'd you
well,
get to
I'm
Reno?
originally from Georgia, and like my mom and dad were both in the Navy, and they just ended up at, like the nuclear sub base down in South Georgia. Not to flex, but you know. And basically, I lived out there my whole life. Did college for a little bit out there. Just hated it, and I was like, you know what? I want to try something new. And my friend Jake lived out here for UNR. And I was like, you know what? I'll try Nevada because it doesn't have gnats and it has legal weed. And also, I maybe possibly got a girl pregnant and had to get the fuck out of Atlanta. And that's neither here nor there. But then I came out here and I fucking love it, man.
And why'd you?
Wait, is that true?
Yeah, that's a crazy fucking story. So there was this chick
Yeah.
that I met her on Bumble, and she was a drug mule. And so she was like, one day had like a lot of money. She's like, I'm gonna go get a Plan B, and I want you to come back and come inside me.
Oh my God.
And I was
Shut
like,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
20. What am I gonna do? Say no to that? And so I do it. And the next day I come over, and I see the Plan B is still not. It's not unwrapped. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to take it like pretty soon. It'll probably be fine. She's gonna take it. I come back the next day. It's still unwrapped. And
Yeah,
I'm
you're
like,
too late by then.
yeah, I was really panicking. Then I come back the next day and it's still not like wrapped. And I'm like, all right, planning an exit strategy now, and got the fuck out of there. I don't know if she carried it. So here's the thing: is whenever I kept in contact like a little bit,
Because you
and-
wanted to see.
Yeah,
Like,
and
is
feel it out.
she pregnant? Is she gonna abort it?
Whose
I didn't tell
goddamn
her
white
what I
baby is that?
and she's like, oh, I want to come out to visit you in Reno, and I'm like, oh yeah, like maybe we could do that. And she's like, yeah, I just have a surprise for you that I know you're gonna love. And I
Oh,
was
Jesus.
like, blocked. I'm never talking to her again. She's crazy. She tried to baby trap me, and she got fooled like an idiot, and isn't gonna get a dime out of me.
Yeah,
If
Kenzie,
she finds
don't-
me, I'll kill myself.
Don't sit here and defend the drug mule, okay?
Wait, that's
that's
crazy.
Yeah.
Would it help if you knew she was white, so I didn't contribute to like a fully?
No, it doesn't
Siobhan would
matter. That's
love
just
everything
so.
you're saying right now. Oh my God. And then Will, give us your background.
I'm from Reno. That's
Born and raised.
Born and raised. Well, I grew up initially in West Lake Tahoe, over in like Tahoma area, and then we moved down here when I was like 6.
Okay.
Lived in Spanish Springs, moved to South Reno, then moved out of my parents' house, and I've been all over the greater Reno area. Some places nicer than others,
Yeah.
but yes,
Damn. Okay. So no baby trapping.
not
No
that
issue
I
there.
know of. Yeah, right. Let's
Yeah,
fucking
Are
knock on
you
wood
knock
for
kind
on
of
it.
pissed that you didn't grow up in like Tahoe?
I
Or
mean,
do you love living in Reno? Like how? Because you had the
yeah.
opportunity to
So
be a
growing
Tahoe
up,
kid.
we would go to Tahoe a lot still. Like I remember as a kid, we'd go to the beach all the time, and then we'd still go up to the lake fairly often when I was growing up. But I don't know. I mean, like, when you're 0 to 6, like you remember stuff, but you don't really remember it enough to be like, oh, like I'm sure when we first moved to Reno, I was like, I wish I could go to the lake right now and climb a tree. But then eventually I went to the park instead. And I was like, I love going to the park. So that's a bad example, but like, like I didn't live there long enough to enjoy it enough to miss
To
it.
remember it, yeah.
Exactly.
But when you meet Tahoe kids, like what's
Oh, I'm
the
so glad I'm
difference?
not a Tahoe kid. Are you kidding? Have you met a Tahoe person?
Oh, I
Yes.
have.
They're
I've
the
met
worst
Truckee
people
kids,
ever.
Incline kids, South Lake kids.
Oh,
they
it's like
all
a different
have
flavor of shit every time.
It
It's
is.
never good.
Wait, but okay, so
Some
what's
butter
your
shit.
take?
Exactly.
What's your take on the Tahoe kids
The
versus
Tahoe kids? Well, I mean-
versus Reno?
Oh, well, I mean, like, we're scummy in Reno, too. Like, I am not about, like, I remember in high school, there was this brawl between Reno High and Galena High. And, like, when I say brawl, I mean, like, 30 kids showed up to a skate park to, like, fight each other. And then it really only ended up being, like, 5 or 6 that got involved. But, like, one dude, this fucking idiot, I forget his name. I'd say it if I didn't, but fucking he had brass knuckles. And like he's like a skinny kid, He's like it's
Why
like
he needs 'em.
Molman with brass knuckles right there.
Like Gangs of New York.
Oh yeah, dude. So he like not a fighter, so he's waiting till like people are fighting, and then he jumps in and like punches one dude in the back with the brass knuckles, like not even in the head,
Well,
in
that's
like the
good.
shoulder or arm or something.
Yeah.
And then he gets jumped by like 4 kids. There's a video of it. There's a
Oh.
video of it. I think it's probably still on YouTube. It's Reno High. It's like something like Reno High, Galena High Brawl 2012 or something.
I'm so looking that up.
And,
I'm
the
gonna put it
song-
right over your face.
Yeah,
as
there's
we're
a-
talking
there's a-
about it.
There's a song they're playing Rack City by Tyga. That song was hot then.
No way.
As the
Oh,
fight's
down.
happening, it's Rack City bitch, Rack City bitch, and then some kid
Oh
gets
my
knocked out.
gosh.
Who won?
The Reno kids.
Yeah.
The Reno kids were like the kids who went to those brawls, like many of them went on to become real criminals. So it's like,
Oh.
Came
Cash
from
money.
violent
like
homes.
who was gonna
Yeah.
win. And the kids from Galena, like a lot of my best friends went to Galena. But it's like mostly a school of like rich white kids who
Right.
develop drug problems and want to compensate and act tough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not all of them, but
That's
most.
what
of 'em.
Tahoe kids are.
And that brings me
Yeah.
to my next point. Tahoe people. They're like that's a thing. So Reno, Tahoe, I mean, like they're all scummy. You just got to find what kind of scum you like,
Yeah.
There's just
Fucking-
more meth
I went to
do.
Minogue. I went to Catholic school, so like we were all scummy also, but in our own way.
You guys had a reason.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting fucked.
That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Did you ever hear the story of the dude? There's this guy who got attacked by a cheetah in Africa, and he killed it with his bare hands.
Oh, is that yes? The white guy
Yeah.
who like,
Rogan.
threw both thumbs down the throat and like
Yeah.
fisted it until
Yeah,
it
no, he was like
suffocated?
he was like 60 something, and he was
Yeah.
just walking in fucking somewhere in Africa. Cheetah tries to jack him, and he just fucking kills it with his bare hands.
Yeah, I posted him on my Instagram
That
many,
guy's
many
so
moons
cool.
ago.
That
It's like
guy's-
a black and white photo. He's holding the
Yep.
dead cheetah, leopard, whatever it is, but he fisted its throat for it to suffocate because he ran out of ammo. Like, fired a couple shots, missed.
Mhm.
I think he only had 5 rounds. Was in some kind of knife
Damn
fight with it.
Democrats.
Loses the knife, and then they're literally just like, you have a fucking cheetah trying to eat you, and he just gives up an arm. Yeah, pretty
Did
gangster.
he lose his arm?
No.
Oh.
But I mean, whenever you're putting your fist down like any animal's throat, you're going into it with the idea that I might be losing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're
I mean,
willing to risk it.
Yeah.
That's
death is
so-
on the table, so
I mean, I guess that's true
Death
too.
is
What's
on
an
the
arm?
table.
What's an
What's
arm?
the background?
Yeah.
One thing I've always wondered, like when you see those, and I know this is probably not possible, but I've always wondered when you see people get attacked by animals, why does no one like grab a leg and try to throw it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Depending on like what animal.
well, I'm talking like, okay, so any animal under 70 pounds.
Well, usually they're not like on top of you, are they?
No,
Like
I'm
what?
saying like it charges at you, tries to bite, you get out of the way, and then you grab its back leg and you just
that's-
yeet it
here,
into
I
a
got
wall.
I got an easy answer because animals aren't fucking retards, and it's not gonna like be like I'm locked on here like a fucking lock on rocket and then go straight. Like if you move to the side, it's gonna adjust, and then like if you try and go low to grab its leg, the first thing it's gonna do is that's an easy limb to bite.
I don't know, man. You never saw me play flag football. I think I can. I think I can get in there.
You ever tried grabbing a dog's leg?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty quick to react.
Yeah, but it's a you know, you
Yeah,
just
and that's a
smack it.
dog.
Yeah.
That's
Smack
a
it.
dog. A dog is like a dog is like a Molman, and like a wolf is like an Albert. Not even like
No.
shit on like oh no, a wolf is like an Albert if it lives if Albert lived in the woods like his whole life.
Dude,
he's
Albert's like a
monster.
fucking polar bear, and Molden's like a little marmot.
Not like
Like, I don't know what your comparisons
Yeah.
are here.
Dude, no, but I'm saying like just as much as far as like a dog isn't going to be a threat.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure.
The threat level for any animal that's not like a dog,
Right,
is gonna go
instantly
up,
goes up.
like exponentially.
Yeah, because it's wild, dude. I bet like I bet a determined raccoon could kill a person. Like if a raccoon was out for blood and it was able to
Right, so
run
it
up
gives
and
you
bite your
rabies.
neck.
Yeah, you gotta kick. Like use your legs.
Yeah.
I feel
But,
like so
like-
many people go for hands. If you can just
true.
punt a raccoon, that's like 30 pounds.
like
not
bobcats.
terrible.
But
You
what
ever
if you miss? What if it jumps on your foot and starts running up your leg as you kick?
Well, then you are fucked, Will. And if you try and grab the
Oh.
leg, it's gonna go worse.
Yeah, it's gonna get way worse.
Then he's gonna be jumping up your arm, and then he's already
Oh.
he's already
Kind of
up
deserve to die at that
Yeah,
point.
exactly. If you miss the kick on a raccoon, it's like, sorry, bud.
Wait, I have a question.
Fire
If
away.
you're wearing steel toe boots, how many coyotes do you think you could take? Like they're coming at you and they're starving. They need to eat.
Okay, how many are we talking in
I'm
waves?
saying, how many do you think you could take?
Let's pretend it's
Probably
waves
like
of 8.
30.
Waves of 8.
Let's say waves of 8. I think I could fend off 4 at a time, and I'd get nipped at a lot. But I think I could stomp a lot of yotes.
So you could
Like,
get 32 total, 4 waves of 8.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
How many do you think you could get?
With steel toe boots?
Yeah.
Can I sub that for a spear? Steel toe boots.
Because that gives you a kick that like is gonna be that's plus like 10 damage on your kick.
I
Yes.
could probably do 10 waves of 4.
See, I think you
That'd
guys
be
are
like-
Asshole's just
delusional.
one-upping me.
I think you guys are delusional. I think I could take 3.
3?
3, like, so a wave of 3?
No, I think yeah.
Why are we talking
no,
about
no.
waves? Like,
No, yeah, no, no,
Like,
it's not. No,
that
yeah,
was a good
thank you,
point.
actually,
That was a
thank
good
you.
point,
No,
though.
we're not talking
Waves
about
is
waves. I'm
good.
saying all at once.
Oh, all at
all
once?
at once. how
like
many
they're
do you
all
think?
coming towards you. It's
Yes.
not like you just get to choose 10 at
My
a
number's
time.
going
Okay,
down. Yeah.
next.
Well, that's how they
Oh.
hunt in packs.
Probably do 4 then.
Okay,
4 or 5.
How many do you think you could take?
I'm going to go with 6 just because fuck him.
Dude, I could take 3,
Okay.
but 4 would get me because like if it nips it, like
It's your Achilles or your hamstring.
you're done, and that's
Yeah.
what they go for on like
Right.
other animals and shit. So
Mhm.
you'd be fucked.
That is a good point. But if you get one by the tail and use it as a weapon,
That's what I'm saying.
Coyotes
you
are like
kill the
60
first one.
pounds. Like if you try and pick that fucker up, you might yank his tail off. Actually,
Well, once
that's-
you have
Oh,
a
you
dead
kill one. Yeah,
coyote,
you
it
kill it,
fends him
and
off,
then You
actually.
kill it and then you grab its
But
back
that's why-
paws and swing.
Yeah.
That's why I said if they're hungry though, because whenever if they were just coming at you like curious and you like kicked one in the mouth and it even hurt it, they would be like, "Oh fuck that, let's get out of here." But they're hungry.
They gotta eat.
No, it doesn't matter, though. Because
Have you
even
seen-
if you hang the coyotes from
Yeah.
your house
but
and
that's
there's
if you
blood
have
on
time to
it.
hang it. These are hungry coyotes.
Yeah, but
coming
if you
at
have one hanging from your hand,
But they're
it's
still hungry.
bleeding.
They're still
So,
hungry.
have you seen
Well,
the
then
scene in
throw
King
it
Kong?
and maybe they'll go eat the coyote.
That's a good
The
point.
scene in King Kong where he rips open the Tyrannosaurus's
Yes.
mouth, I would do that with one of them and then
Mhm.
just like flex the mouth at all of them. Who's next? I think that would be fun. Why'd you guys get into comedy?
Oh man.
Nice
These are the big
transition.
questions.
I do want to get more into comedy, and
Yeah,
while you guys
fair,
got
fair.
into it, so yeah.
Perfect.
In Israel.
I always just had
That's
that's
fair.
later when the comedy's over.
That's when we get serious.
I don't know. I always just had like the most fun I ever have is like making people laugh, and like all throughout high school, my teachers were like I was pretty smart, and they're like
Wait, hold on. What was that face? That was a weird face. that
Mild
you just-
seizure?
the mild seizure. I don't know.
Oh no, I don't know. It looked like you were
I'm
like
sure I'll see it. in
ejaculating.
thumbnails.
Looked like you were coming,
Well, I was a little bit. I'm enjoying the conversation.
making people laugh.
Get to talk about
My
me.
teachers were like,
Yeah, I know. You're talking about me. This is the important part. No, but fucking my teachers, I was smart, and they'd be like, "Okay, I will not bother you about like doing homework if you just stop bothering the other kids." Because I'd always just be cracking jokes like the entire time, and like I got wittiest, and I was just like, "Yeah, no big deal. I'm the king of comedy," and told everybody that for like probably like 3 years, and I was like, "You know what? I should go do comedy."
And how long you been doing it?
Probably like 2-3 years now.
Nice.
Too long to be as bad as I am.
so you were the class clown,
Yeah, yeah.
basically, and you always had been that way. Were you always the class clown?
No, I got most talkative in high school. I was kind of
I
just
feel like you're a shit.
saw that one
yeah,
coming?
Like,
exactly. I
you're-
was just kind of like generally annoying, but like in a fun way, Like people who were in on it really appreciated it.
But the
But
people,
people-
that weren't.
They were the victims. It was the best.
Was it mostly the girls that were the victims?
No, it'd be like
Oh, well, you went to an all boys school.
no, it was co-ed.
Oh,
Yeah,
A lot of anal.
Losers.
exactly.
We had those at our school too.
No, it was yeah, I mean it was whoever. Actually, I don't know. In high school, I was actually like, I was still really talkative, but I was actually like more reserved in the sense like I would still like joke around, but not as much.
Mhm.
Like I would just kind of joke around with the guys or whatever. But then when I graduated high school, I got a job in a warehouse and it was like all blue collar. And
Mhm.
then from then for like 7 years, I was just working pure blue collar jobs. And that's where I really like started learning, like talking shit, hanging out, like joking, and
Yeah.
really kind of got my witticisms up, to borrow Nathan's word. But yeah, no, just doing a lot of blue collar work and talking shit with the guys. That was the best. I'd still do it if I could.
So you didn't talk shit in middle school, high school, like with
I mean, I
other
did.
people?
I did, like with friends.
Yeah.
Like within like, hanging out with the
But
guys.
you didn't bully people.
No.
Ah.
No. If anything, I was like on a, like the social hierarchy.
Mhm.
So you got like 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like a 5, I was like a 3.
Okay.
So I was like middle of the pack. So I'd get like shit on here and there, but I could still shit on people under me. And my friends, obviously, you can shit up the ladder, so to speak. So
Well,
it was-
it only
shit
goes
around.
down the ladder. I'm pretty
yeah, that's
sure,
what you
so.
think.
Yeah.
Catch it in a bucket.
God damn. How long you been doing comedy?
4 years,
Nice.
give or take. So yeah, no, I got started because of COVID. I remember COVID happened, and I'd kind of always wanted to try it, and then COVID happened, and I kind of realized like, oh wow, like everything can shut down. I've always wanted to do this. Okay, so the next open mic I find out about in Reno, I'll just go try it out, sign up, and then 2 weeks later, Cy was doing these shows at this place, the Emerson,
Mhm.
and it was like still during the pandemic. Like there was nothing else going on.
Did you guys have to wear a mask in there?
No, no, thank God.
You should. It smells like feet.
It smells like gay sex in that bar.
It really does.
Fucking-
But it has a great stage, doesn't it?
it does, and it was the only place open, so like
Yeah.
a lot of people were going out. And then yeah, I just tried it out and went okay, and then kept going. And yeah, I don't know. About 6 months in, I had my first bomb and questioned everything. It was like, I don't know if I'm funny. I don't think I could do this. And then I didn't go for a few weeks, and then hated myself enough to go back
Yeah.
to prove it,
Prove
and
it
then
to yourself. Yep.
exactly. And then yeah, slowly gotten a little bit better while getting a little worse, and then a little better, and that's it. 4 years trying to keep going.
Yeah.
I remember my first bomb.
Oh, dude, it's rough. You drive home, no music
No,
on.
it's silent in the car.
And like, oh, it's completely silent. And like, anytime you catch your view in any mirror, you just stare at yourself like you're a disappointment. Oh God, yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, I still have it, but I don't listen to it that much anymore, thank God. But I have a sad boy playlist.
No,
like,
you don't.
After I have a really bad bomb, I wait till I get home, and then I just like lay on my bed and put my phone on my chest and listen to like Rooster by Alice in Chains.
Oh my god.
Happy Pride Month, Will.
Right?
Holy.
It took us a
fuck.
long time.
Dude, after I bombed, Sarah Rucker went up right after me and she was like, "Hey, if it makes you feel better, it wasn't that no one was laughing because it was messed up. No one was laughing because you weren't funny."
God. Just twist the knife a
Yeah.
little extra.
I'm sitting there just like gripping my long drink can, like I'm gonna destroy her. And I like told people that, and they're like, "Don't do that. Sarah's way funnier than you." Then I saw her a couple times, and I was like, "I am so glad I never said anything."
Was she joking around though with you?
No, she was probably completely serious.
Well, I mean,
She
was
gets
being,
serious?
No,
I mean,
she
serious
should have
joke.
said that. She should have said that. That was an
Yeah.
awful bomb. I was fucking hammered.
So there's obviously this element of like showing up professionally to something like that because you guys care about it, right? Like you're passionate. Do you guys see yourself doing this long term? Like, do you guys want to get
Yeah, how far do you
like
want to
how
take
far
it?
do you
for
want to?
sure. Yeah, 100%. No, that's like yeah, it's the only thing I've ever been doing where I'm like, oh, I want to keep doing this. Like, I enjoy this. This is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've worked tons of different jobs, and all of them have been like, oh, well, I'll kill myself if I do this for the rest of my life. And then I've started doing this, and I was like, you know what? It's going to take a long time, but I got time. I got nothing but time.
Yeah.
So, keep going and make it.
So there's no like end cap then. Like you're not going to be like 10 years in and you look like let's just say 10 years in you're in it. You're still not where you thought that you would be. Like there's not going to be a give up point for you guys.
Not that I could see.
If I was like 10 years in and I was like, man, this is not what I want to spend the rest of my life on, which, there's like things that like, as much as I love comedy, like the comedy game isn't all about comedy. It's like half of it's comedy and like half of it's like networking.
Mhm.
And if that like overweighs the comedy at any point, like, and it just becomes not what I want to do, then I'd be like, you know what, I'm going to take a break. but I probably wouldn't like quit forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The only time I could ever picture myself quitting is if I've been doing it for 15 years and then I'm running a really shitty open mic at a bar in downtown Reno that's known to be a little rapey
What's it
and
called?
talking. I think it's it's something to do with a school library.
Oh,
And just talking into the mic about my day for 15 minutes every single Wednesday.
Yeah.
If that ever happened to me, then yeah, I'd quit everything. I'd kill myself. If that was my life, I'd drown myself in the Truckee River.
So what's success in comedy for you guys? Like when you think, because there's not a peak, right? You can only get better. But what is like a successful comedian in your eyes?
if I'm making enough money to where I can pay my rent,
Bring this up a little bit.
if I can pay my rent and like never have to worry, like if I'm going out to eat with people, not even have to look at my bank account.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really, I'm not like, I do want money and like the stuff it buys, but like I don't want, like that's not my goal
Mm-hmm.
with comedy, because I think money like kind of fucks you over. Not fucks you over, but it messes with your head a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and it causes like more problems
You
than it
get
solves.
further and further from like the common man experience to relate to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's some comics who have been able to like get to that super level and still like have a common man view. Like Louis C.K. is a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
He's and obviously he had his issue. He had his little
He
thing.
likes to beat his dick.
He
What's
likes
wrong
to
with
beat
that?
off. What's wrong with it?
He
Sarah
asked.
Silverman said it was funny.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
He asked everyone if he could do it.
Yeah,
If
you
he
can
had just,
hang
like,
up at
trapped
any time.
someone, like if I put my dick out right now and started jerking off, that'd be a problem. But if I was like, hey, can you walk out so I can show the boys something? And they're like, yeah, then, no victims.
Yeah, I don't feel threatened.
Yeah, no, like Louis is like able to keep like a common man view, and he could do it. But yeah, I mean, like you look at a lot of like, even guys like
Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, both of them, they
Yep.
fucking like got money after like the Joe Rogan thing and started like separating themselves from their fans. And like there was like one episode of their whatever their stupid podcast is called, and they were like talking about like their watches and their cars, and like the commenters were like, oh, we don't want to hear about that, like talk about
Yeah.
comedy.
yeah,
And they're like, you guys are just loser fucking brokies, and that's the reason you don't want to hear that. And it's like, yeah, all right, you keep telling yourself.
I have noticed that. I feel like once celebrities or influencers get money, they do kind of change their tone of like, I've worked really hard for this, so I am going to talk about it. I'm proud of it. Like it's part of like this is what I wanted, so I'm not going to be shamed into not talking about it.
hmm
Talking about experiences that you get with your money, I feel like
That's
if I,
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
If I'm like, oh yeah, we went to Bali and did like Molly, that's a cool story. But like when you're just like, oh yeah, so I bought this this $1.25 million AP. It's
But
like,
I think that's just personality, because I know people that aren't celebrities that just have a lot of money that talk about money like that.
yeah, yeah.
Like I think that's just probably like what you're more tuned to probably do when you have money,
hmm
right?
There's
I
a
mean,
word
you
for
probably
that.
know
It's
people.
slipping my
Materialism.
mind.
Yeah, what is that? What is that? Oh yeah, I guess materialistic.
International Jewry.
I got all this jewelry on.
Who are you guys inspired by in the comedy world?
like guys, like the topper level guys, or just in
Just
No,
in
here in
general,
the
like
circuit.
who,
here in the circuit.
like in general, who
I gotta
inspires
say,
you?
every
Like you
time
guys.
Matt Rojas talks about Paddington.
no, fuck you. That Paddington bit is hilarious.
No, it
It is
is. It is.
hilarious.
Whenever I go-
That was an honest compliment. I think it's great.
People shit on that bit because he does it all the time.
I love.
At least he
them,
does
you
another
guys.
bit other than Chris.
Yeah, I know. Fucking Chris doesn't do bits. It
That's
feels
what
like
I'm
he's
saying.
just going up and like talking, which is funny sometimes, but like sometimes it's like, bro.
I think it's hilarious. It hits a funny bone in me that I can't stop laughing.
Mhm.
I don't know what it is. It's like I know it's probably like not new. It's probably annoying for you guys because you guys are like you're not coming up with anything. It's more just like what you're doing on stage, like a behavior.
No,
Right.
I think it's
Right.
a tension building exercise.
I don't know. It's
Like
fucking
that's what
hilarious
breaks the
to
tension
me.
is everybody is so uncomfortable, and then he says something that's silly, and you're like, release.
I
Right.
think
that,
it's a
that works. That is laughing.
yeah, but if somebody else, it's like the way he looks, the way he talks. It is. It's a combination.
Yeah,
No,
vibe.
it
It's a-
doesn't feel like an act. Like it's like
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, I'm fully immersed in it.
yes, it
And,
feels
like,
like an experience.
The thing, my only issue with it is he doesn't repeat bits, and like he has some funny fucking shit that he'll say. Where like exactly, it is tension building, and where he'll say something fucking hilarious, and then just won't write it down and won't ever do it again. And so he's just starting from scratch every time, and it's like you got to build on it, because like then you can like say it again, maybe change the way you say
Yeah.
this thing, and like improve those, because he said enough funny shit like on stage that he should be doing like he should have like a good solid 10. But like every time I see him do like long, it's just all random.
But it could depend on his goals. Like maybe have you asked him where he wants to take it?
Not really. I don't. I try not to talk with like unless I
People?
like really. No, like,
People.
I don't.
This is a very self-centered endeavor. So when other people are
I
doing
don't
something,
understand
you
that,
don't really
though.
give that
So
much of a
it's
shit.
it's the idea of like, okay, so like all a rising tide raises all ships,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still a bunch of individual ships.
Mm-hmm.
We're all captains of our own ships. Sure, a rising tide helps everybody. But
What's
if
on your
someone-
ship?
What's on my ship? You don't want to know what's on
Who
my
are you
ship.
bringing to this
he has
country?
a fucking bottom hole full of my kind.
But
But no, like I don't talk about like my goals with comedy or like deeper with comedy unless it's like someone I kind of respect their opinion with.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I'll talk to like Will, I'll talk to Mike about it sometimes. I'll talk to Michael, but like I don't go around asking like fucking like Justin like, hey, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because I don't really care. Like it's not like a negative thing on him. It's more just like he said, it's like an individual thing, and like I'll ask the people that I'm genuinely interested or like talk to him about it. But like if it's someone that I don't really like with Chris, I don't think that he's doing this like as a thing forever. So it's like, oh, he's just doing it for fun. That's why I don't ever go and tell him like, hey, you should write stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like something I'm making a mental note of whenever I'm watching, and I'm like, man, you should be better because you are funny. And it's like you're just not getting it. And I don't know why that is. Not I don't know why it is, but it's like, man, I don't want to insert myself and go and be like, this is how you can improve your thing, because people sometimes don't take it well.
Yeah.
And like even you could do it with a bit sometimes, but if you tell someone like this is how you should actually change your direction,
That
then it-
becomes intensely
I
personal.
think it's how
Yeah.
you
It's your
approach it.
creativity too.
yeah,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
there's no way that I could do like I can't write a bit for Mike better than he can because he knows his voice, and it's
Mhm.
about like your version of funny when you're on stage, you like actually achieving that and like being able to express it to the audience. So like you have to find your way there. And like whenever I was new, Michael would always tell me like he would tell me tips, but he would never like tell me like exactly what I should be doing because he's like, you need to find that.
Yeah.
I'll point you in the right direction, but like you need to find the rest of it. But like a lot of comedy people like in town do not like whenever you point them in the right direction because like a lot of people have like ego
Mhm.
and like myself included. Like I see myself as better than a lot of the people in town, and like whenever the people that are like not as good as me give me a thing, I do feel some type of way about it, and that's just like an ego thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I don't cross that with like
Yeah, I totally understand that. Yeah,
Kanye's
100%.
said a lot of genius things across the board, but the most important is I don't take advice from people less successful than me
yeah.
and other things.
and other
But-
things.
But
Yeah.
that is like a key determining factor, I think, when somebody approaches you and is like, I have a new angle on your bit.
Mhm.
If I think you're hilarious, I'll listen to you. If I don't think you're funny, I'm just sitting there like, I'm going to wait for you to shut up.
Yeah, it's like pointless
any point.
advice.
But I think it's how you guys approach each other. Like that to me is like, why would you ever go up to someone and be like, hey, I know how to improve your bit here, and then start telling them? Like I would ask them. I'd be like, do you like I have an angle that I came up with when I was listening to you. Do you want it or not?
Usually because you're so excited to go and be like, oh, that would be so funny if they said this. I'm gonna go up and be like, oh, you should do that. Because if you're like, oh man, like, can I give you this tag? And they're like, no. You're like, damn, but like, and now that's on your mind.
Okay, but then that's on you.
yeah, but it's
Like,
like,
chill out then.
yeah, but it's again the ego thing where you're like, no, I want them to hear this because I want them to say my thing and it to be funnier.
Yeah.
And like add on to it.
Well, you
I
also
see
have
what
to
you're
have
saying.
you have to have a big enough ego and be just delusional enough to be like, me holding a mic and talking to people is worth other people's time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%. It's very, it's a weird mix of
Yeah.
the two, and like delusion's a big thing because I've noticed just in like Reno area, and I've heard tons of comedians talk about this across like multiple areas. A lot of crazy people show up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, that's real mental illness. Like
Yeah.
you're actually an insane person.
Yeah.
What was that?
I'm
what was
good.
Fat Stinky
I'm
Smelly
good.
James?
Oh, Fat Smelly James.
Dude, that guy was crazy. He like showed up and tried to like fight Mark.
I
Mark V.
remember.
I wasn't
Didn't he
there, but
punch
like
him.
It was very
punched him?
entertaining.
He
no,
or he pushed
no.
him or something.
Nobody punched anybody. There was a shoving contest, and then Mark is like, "I'll actually light this guy up." all that happened was James accused Mark of stealing a bit, which
Oh.
is patently false.
That's like fucking Brendan Schaub and Joe
Yeah.
Rogan being like, "You stole my bit."
No, it's like Carlos Mencia and
he
Brendan
didn't work for
Schaub.
either of you.
Right.
No, because Carlos Mencia was at least successful.
Yeah,
I mean,
he stole funny
well,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. I need it better.
It was on Comedy Central. It worked for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
No,
how far do
definitely.
you want to take it? Do you want to be selling out arenas? Is that like a goal, or is that
Yeah,
just
well, I mean, it's kind of like to kind of go back to like what you were saying, like when do you see success? Like I kind of think the same thing as Nathan as far as like when I don't have to have a day job and I don't have to work. Like if I could just do comedy right now and be in the same financial situation I am right now, that would be like not success, but like, hey, we're almost there.
Mhm.
I see it
And
as
then
I want to be Dave Attell to where I could go to any club and be like, oh, hey, can I do a spot? And they're like, Nathan Holland, like,
Yeah,
yeah, let
you're
me clear
good
that out. That's
anywhere.
my version of success. I
exactly.
want to be like the best.
I like that.
Yeah. And like I don't think you can judge success based on like how many I mean obviously how many tickets you sell is like a good metric, like it's a hard metric,
You
but
can
it's
also look at
also
Amy Schumer.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
also not a real metric because you have a lot of people who will buy tickets for Amy Schumer and it's like I mean she's doing good, I guess, but she's not funny. Like
Do you want to
it
do
is what it
arenas
is.
though? Like, do you see yourself doing arenas?
If I ever get the chance to do an arena, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100%.
I don't see like my stuff working in a arena. Not, just because it's gonna turn into a hate rally like
Yeah.
really quickly. And, like, the
Trump
FBI
wants you to open for him, all right?
Yeah, dude. That I mean, like that would be good. Like if any dictator was taking over and they were like, I need someone to come out there and say crazy shit. So like whenever I come up, like,
This guy's making really good points.
and then like it's like me going up and just saying like, yeah, I got a girl pregnant one time and bit down on her, and they're like, oh, boo! And then he comes out, he's like, fuck that guy, right?
Be the scapegoat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think being able to sell tickets is a metric of financial success, but
Mhm.
being able to bring up other people with you is like a huge indicator.
Oh, for sure.
Like you can bring someone to open and get them paid, and all of a sudden their career starts to expand because of that. That's a big deal.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not
exactly.
about like selling tickets, it's about like putting asses in seats,
Mhm.
which is a difference. Cause
Yeah,
like
people want to see you.
yeah. To where like it's not like necessarily like, oh, I sold 5,000. Well, I sold 500. Well, it's like, well, that 500 show could have been 500 like devoted people that are like Doug Stanhope.
Mhm.
Doug Stanhope has a group of like fucking freaks that just follow him wherever he goes and will like fill up at any place that he's at. He isn't like nationally known. Like if I say Doug Stanhope to like you probably don't know who he is, but like
It's underrated for sure.
to the people that love him, they love him.
Hmm.
And then like
Mhm.
the people that don't know him, they don't know him. But I'd rather be like loved by the people that love me and like hated by the people that hate me, because then at least I know where I stand with.
Yeah,
them.
people are
Right.
still talking about you at that point too.
Yeah,
If you have
exactly.
people that hate you,
Like there's just some shows where I'm looking at it like how it's booked, and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna suck my own dick here, but if you're trying to put a like a good show on, like there's like 4 of the 5 people that could be replaced with like one local people
Mhm.
and like up and comers and 2 people that are just better.
Oh,
But
100%.
they're doing
Yeah.
it for like friendship and to like say like send a message, and it's like, bro,
you
Well, it's
think
not
it's for
even
friendship. I think that there's a more negative undertone, which is if you have somebody go on and does worse than you
That's
look
exactly
better.
what I think it is too. I mean, like to a point,
Yeah.
because obviously there are people who will get, like, if you have a show of 5 people, usually at least 2 of them are pretty good,
Mhm.
sometimes even 3. But the people that are not the good ones are like it's a margin. There's a
Mhm.
margin, and it's like on the one hand you could explain it away by being like, oh, they're just trying to give new people a chance, but it's like not every new person deserves a chance. Like you should be good at comedy
Be funny.
before yeah, be funny and then get booked. Like when I first started, I didn't ask to be on a show for like probably 2 years. I got put on shows, but I wanted to just be good enough for
Yeah.
people to offer me spots on shows. That's all like and that's my fault. I'm still bad at networking to this day. Like I probably could be on a lot more shows. I just never reach out to anyone to be on a show.
Yeah, my ego gets in the
Yeah,
way. I
'cause if you
refuse to ask
yeah,
anyone,
if you
"Will
want
you
me,
put me on
let
a
me
show?" I
know.
won't do that.
Exactly. It's
I
just
don't think you should.
embarrassing.
Like,
I think you should be like so fucking funny that people ask you and want you to be there,
Mhm.
and that's just proof of your own pudding that it
Exactly.
makes sense what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I've pretty much always looked at it. And I'll warn you, don't do it too much because, like I said, there's a lot more shows I probably could have been on
Yeah.
if I just swallowed my pride and been like, "Hey, could I maybe like do a spot for you?" And
Well,
then
you're making me
saying yes.
rethink it where I probably will at some point,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd rather have such a like good 10 that I'm so confident in and then
Yeah.
approach them.
Oh, for sure. Don't
Yeah.
go into it till you have like a solid 10. Then
it's
approach
hard to
away.
get a 10 though if you're not doing shows because you're not doing 10.
Yeah.
And that my issue is just like you're not. If I'm putting on like a book show and I'm selling tickets, like I want to put on the best show for the people buying
Mhm.
tickets. So then they're like, "This is awesome. I want to come to the next one."
Mhm.
And there's not a lot of before the old Art Society closed down, we had a lot of regulars that
That
would
was
just
such
come.
a great room.
I know a lot of
Amazing.
regulars, and we ended up like a lot of them fell off just because like we were closed down for so long. But like we had people that were repeatedly coming because they knew that people were funny, and you could do new stuff in front of them, and like you couldn't always do the same thing because they've seen your
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
But now it's just like people that are putting on book shows. It's all new people, like because it's like the people that came last time are like, yeah, that shit sucked.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. Yeah, you do want to be a good showman throughout all of it.
Yeah.
But I do think a room like Arch Society, where you get 30, 40, 50 heads that are there to laugh and it's like date night for them and they're not comics.
Mhm.
Because doing comedy to a room of comics and 2 audience members is fucking brutal. Jesus Christ. I ate the biggest bag of dicks on Thursday, where it was one of those silent drive
Yep,
homes where I'm
yep.
like, there's a gun in the cabinet.
Exactly, and you're just ready.
Yeah.
You see the oncoming semi, and you're like, maybe tonight.
Oh, beep, beep. God damn.
Yeah, well, no, and like the only way to build those good rooms is to put the show 1st.
Mhm.
And like that's the thing I've seen in most rooms, not just in Reno, but in general, most open mics that you go to, it's not usually people who want it to be a good show, good open mic. It's people who want an opportunity for them and their 4 friends in the area to do time, and that's about it. You know, they hope people come to it, but they're not really like it's almost like active bombing.
Mm.
Like when you see people do, because I remember I went to a mic in fucking DC, and it was the exact same type of shit that like happens in Reno, where it's like, oh, okay, so this is everywhere. Like it's not just an isolated incident,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, I
I'm-
don't know. It
I'm
just
Well-
doesn't make sense.
Explain to people who might be listening that are not like familiar with the comedy world of what an open mic is versus a paid show, because I feel like what you guys are talking about is a little bit like
There is a very big
intermingled.
distinction.
Oh, huge
Yeah.
difference.
And
Yeah.
Inside baseball.
Open mic is
yeah.
like practice. So like if you go and bomb at an open mic, that is fine. Like
Mhm.
like it's fine to bomb because that is where you're going to like workshop your material
Right.
and like practice it in front of people that aren't paying. Because at a paid show, this is people that are like paying to see you, so you're supposed to be bringing your best for them. And my issue is not with open mics. You can do whatever you want with an open mic, but when you're doing a book show and that you're having people pay, and you know you could be having the show be better than it is, you know you could,
Mhm.
Hmm.
but instead you're like, no, I'm just gonna do this because it feels nicer.
Yeah. Not to,
You're like selling out the people that are buying tickets from you.
yeah.
Mhm.
I don't want to be a centrist cuck, but I also I recognize if you're doing all of the work, like the actual legwork to put the show on,
Hmm.
and you want to bring your friends, that's up to you too, which is
Oh, for sure.
the rough part, which is like this could be the best show. You could have the best,
Hmm.
bring in all the great people, and that could be a banger every Friday, every Saturday, whenever it is. But you do want to bring your homies at some point, and
Mhm.
it might tank a little bit.
Oh no, for
Yeah.
sure. But like, I don't know. Like, I get the idea of like, oh, bring your friends on and like that'll be fun. But like, luckily, if I ever ran a show, my friends are funny, so I know it. Like, that's the reality. Like, if you want a funny show, have a funny show. If you want to have fun with your friends, run an open mic.
Yeah.
I think that's what Reno's missing though in the comedy scene is like a legit place, like an actual stage, an actual like theater that
Mhm.
people can come. It's not like a big theater. I'm not talking about like the GSR.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like an improv theater where there's like, maybe 3 rows of 6 seats on each row. And it's like small and intimate, but there's like an actual stage. There's someone who's an opener that has been doing it that's professional, that everyone knows their name, and then it allows local comics to come in and either open, be the middle, and then have the main guy close.
They have that. It's just you have to get that. You have to like basically go and suck Wayne's dick
Yeah.
and like set up chairs for him, which it's paying your way. But again,
So
like,
but it does exist.
yeah,
Reno
Yeah. So the
Tahoe
Reno
Comedy.
Tahoe comedy shows. So like,
But where are they doing it here at the
So
Silver
he
Legacy?
sets up
It's
wherever.
called the theater.
yeah.
What
on
theater?
Automobile Museum.
They'll set up and so that
They
they'll
do a
do
couple shows
yeah they'll
everywhere.
do a lot of different like venues throughout town.
Yeah.
They used to do it at the Pioneer Underground. That used to be like the home base, and then
Which
after
is a
COVID,
great spot.
oh,
Yeah,
it
that
was
place is
great.
Is this
awesome.
Don't Tell Comedy? Is that
No,
what you're
that's
talking
different.
about?
Different
That's
Those
position.
are
different.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
but yeah, after COVID, they stopped doing the underground, and then now he puts them on kind of like pop up shows in different like larger locations around town. And if you're like a local guy, you can go talk to the guy who runs it and help set up chairs, be a door guy. Here and there, you'll get 5, maybe 10 minutes to open, but it's it's just not a thing that a lot of people like. I've never done it. I probably should, but I just, it's not like it's separated from the open mics
Yeah.
to the point where you kind of just have to show up and hope that you can get a minute with the guy who runs it, and then ask him to set up chairs at the next one, and then maybe in
I
two,
work
three,
for free
yeah,
for you.
The
maybe
reason
in two or three more shows, then you'll be able to do
Well,
5.
we
10
need a
minutes.
different person to do that.
the reason I
Yeah.
don't like
Just
it
be
is
one person in Reno that's running the whole fucking ship.
it
Yeah.
feels like you're just doing the same thing that I have an issue with. Like what I have an issue with whenever people go and suck, like Michael's dick thinking like they'll get time somewhere, and it's like that feels like it's doing the same thing, and I'm like I don't want to be a hypocrite and go like suck dick for time.
Mhm.
It's not like that I'm not like trying to lower myself. I'm not anything to where I shouldn't be doing that, but it's just like morally to me, it's like if I'm getting on a show, I want it to be like Mike said because I'm funny.
Yeah,
Exactly.
100%.
When it comes to comedy, what do you guys think is actually funny? Like, how would you
Oh.
describe funny?
I think funny is whatever makes me laugh. Honestly, like that's it. It's not just me, but like what's funny to me is what's funny to me.
Mhm.
Funny in general, like especially doing stand up, this is like a very important thing that a lot of people don't realize. But it's not about what you find funny. It's about what's going to get the biggest laugh from the audience. There's plenty of jokes I have where I have completely different punchlines that I find way funnier, but I'm not going to use those on stage because I've tried them and they don't work. So I
Almost like you're
rework it.
speaking to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like that's, like so there's a difference between like what's funny on stage and what's funny to me. But like I think pretty much everything's funny. Like I don't think there's many things, if any things, that are not funny, but it is based on how it's presented. Because there's
Mhm.
plenty of things that are funny that are presented in a terrible way and you're like, "Oh, that's not funny. That's just gross or it's fucked up or whatever." But there's something funny
Racist.
about it. Racism,
I think it's shocking you with
Racism-
cleverness.
Mhm.
not good.
Because like it's not just well, let's not go too far. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. But I'll say I
That's a
think
good point.
I think funny is it's shocking people with cleverness. Because like you could just say the most shocking thing, and like someone can go on stage and say like I'm not gonna make you edit it, but the hard R, and like that would be shocking, but it's gonna make like one guy in the audience laugh.
It'll be Nathan.
Yeah, but like you have to shock people with like something that's clever,
Mhm.
like that they're not expecting. It's hard to like say because it could be in so many different ways, obviously. But
Mhm.
like, I think shocking with cleverness is like the
Yeah,
best way to put it.
it's finding the best path to deliver that. Because like, I have plenty of jokes that are about topics that if I just said like the beat points of it, people would think I'm like a crazy person or
psychotic.
yeah, just like a
Yeah.
crazy asshole. But then when I do it on stage as a joke, and as long as I can get the hook in and they're following me, they work 90% of the time, 80% of the time. Like certain bits that like I know it's a risk because when they don't work, it's really bad because then you do just look like an asshole. But it's
What?
yeah,
No.
right. But it's like
Never been
finding
there.
yeah, like Nathan was saying, like finding the subtle art of how to like weave it together.
Yeah,
That's like stage funny, like funny on stage and good stand up.
totally. Because I also think a lot of people have different lines that are being crossed. And so it's trying to say it in a way that, I mean, you're going to be offensive no matter what, I think. But I think it's also trying to find that middle ground where even if it's offensive, it's so funny that they can't help but laugh.
Yeah, I mean, laughter is
Exactly.
involuntary. Like if
Mhm.
it's the right
Right.
way, you can't help it. And like
Right.
people will say you can't punch down with comedy, but like one of the funniest bits of all time is Sam Kinison being like, "Oh, you see this? This is sand. You know what it's gonna be in 1,000 years? It's gonna be fucking sand. Move out of the desert." And he's like yelling at like a starving African kid.
Yeah.
And that's as far down as you could punch, and that bit is hilarious.
Right.
It's just finding the needle because there's red on both ends where you could be a pussy and be like, well, now it's not their fault and no one's gonna laugh.
Yeah.
Or you could be like, I fucking hate these starving and that's not gonna laugh. But it's the middle point where you find it and you can make it funny. Pretty much anything because people laugh at rape jokes. Like
Mhm.
and like rape isn't funny, but like
But
you
if
can make
it's
a
But it
funny,
joke.
can be.
You can make a joke that like
Yeah.
people will laugh at. Then like rape is one of the harshest things. You can make a joke about murdering someone funny. So it's like if you can't make that funny, I'm like hard pressed to find something that is worse than those things that you wouldn't be able to make funny.
When it comes to like toting the line, I love when somebody takes me on a journey and makes me involuntarily laugh at something that is you've gotten into my head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking the way you're thinking,
Right.
and now I'm laughing at something that I otherwise wouldn't be laughing at. Like that is peak comedy to me.
Oh yeah,
It's
and that's
clever.
getting the hook in.
Yep.
And then they're on the line and they're following you all the way, and then sometimes you lose them right at the end, and that sucks. But most of the time you land it and you're good.
Yeah, yank them out of the water, club them, and throw them in the
Exactly.
chest.
Not to change the topic too much, but I'm gonna miss you guys when I get drafted to go die for Israel.
Yeah,
Plan on going?
let's talk about that.
Do we
well,
think
I'm
we
gonna
can
get
trust
drafted.
Nathan with automatic weapons around
Yeah.
Israelis?
I think that would be a really good idea. And you know what? You don't even need to draft me. I'll go voluntarily. Let me go to Israel and give me a gun.
It sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. No, I can be trusted around Israelis with guns. I'm not gonna say anything, but when I played hardcore Modern Warfare, yeah, my teammates, I got kicked a lot. So.
So give the audience your take on like what is happening, just for not your opinions,
Well,
but just
let's get specific. Iran.
yeah,
Okay,
Iran.
Well,
There's a lot's happened in the
hope you
last
guys
2
are ready
weeks.
for a fucking deep
I'll let you
dive
go
on this
first,
shit.
bro. I'll let you take
All
it
right.
first.
So Israel, Iran, that's all popping off. That dates back obviously to the Israel Hamas stuff, and then Israel was doing all their bombings into Lebanon and Syria, taking out the Iranian proxies, and then push came to shove. Trump got in. No nuclear. They can't do it. Which, to be fair, I think is a bad. It's bad to say that Iran can't have nukes because Israel has nukes.
Yeah,
and
but
they're
also
the biggest geopolitical enemy.
Also, it's almost like we had a nuclear treaty with Iran that
Yeah.
got taken down by somebody who was president in 2017. And now he's like, oh, well, we need them to denuclearize. And then we bomb their sites, and now he's like, oh, well, we're going to actually do regime change.
Yeah.
This actually doesn't go back to Israel and Hamas. This
Well, no,
goes back to the 1950s.
Oh, it goes all the way back
Because
to when we
back
overthrew.
then,
48
talking
to
about
be
the Shah.
exact.
It was whenever we put like democracy over there.
Shah.
No,
We
there was
installed the Shah.
hold up. Well, that's in like this. That's later.
That's in the 70s.
Yes.
No, that's when he gets overthrown.
Okay.
Okay,
Anyway,
well, hold up. In the 50s, they had a democratically elected leader that was like a liberal guy, and he was telling like the English, because BP had a lot of oil in like Iran, and the Persian Gulf like is a lot of stuff goes through there, and Iran can basically stop it. So they're like, we're gonna overthrow this guy and install this guy named he's the Shah, and he's gonna basically be a supreme leader over them. That was a dictator, but it's our dictator, so it's fine. The people hated him in Iran, so eventually like they overthrew him. They had a revolution, and we took the Shah, and we're trying to like not cure his cancer. We're trying to help him with his cancer, and they're like, no, you need to give him back. And so they were mad, and some students went to the embassy of like the U.S. embassy in Tehran, and they like surrounded it, and that's where you hear like the Iranian hostage situation. So that's why like people will place them as like our enemy, is because when they overthrew them, they're like, fuck America, like we hate America.
Exactly.
And so like over time, like it's just been building up, and like Israel wants Iran taken out because that's the last major enemy in the Middle East that's stopping them from having like basically complete control.
Yeah, their
Exactly.
fingers get into like Lebanon, Egypt, everything around. It's
Yeah,
like
like
they
they're
own
funding
everything.
Hezbollah in Lebanon. They're funding the Syrians because Bashar al-Assad was their friend. They're funding Hamas. They're funding a lot of proxy groups, which I don't think is good necessarily. Like it's definitely not great for Israel. Like I would be fucking mad at Iran too if I was Israel. But what they're doing is they're trying to pull us into their war, and they're like Netanyahu for the last like 8 presidents has been like, we need you guys to bomb. Not 8 presidents, but like
No,
the last
it is.
30 years.
It's the last 30 years.
Yeah,
He's
the
been
last
saying
30
the same
years.
exact thing.
But there wasn't 8
There-
presidents just because they do like 8 terms, so it's been like the last like 4 or 5.
Mhm.
But every time he's like, I need you to bomb Iran, and every time every president's been like, no, that's not in our interest. They actually asked Ronald Reagan to do it because they sent a missile at one of our bases over in the Middle East, and it got hit, and they were like, you need to go to war with Iran like right now. And Reagan was like, actually, no, like, what are we doing in the Middle East? Like, let's pull out of there, and then we won't get hit. And then since then, they've asked every president, like, will you bomb them? And then Trump is just the first one that said yes. And like, this is gonna drag us into it. And like, are Iranians great? Are good people? Like, I don't know Iranians. Do I want to go fight a war with them? Absolutely not. And do I want to go die for Israel of all things? Absolutely fucking not. They're just trying. Like now they're setting us up to where we're going to get put in the war.
False flag.
Yeah.
I've
This
been
is the
saying
crazy.
that.
Okay,
yeah.
so this is a conspiracy that I looked into, and I think it holds some water. Nathan thinks it's a little too out there. The USS Nimitz it's a aircraft carrier going into the Persian Gulf or the Eastern Mediterranean.
And
One of
you're
the
talking about current events.
yes.
Yeah, the one that's supposed to be decommissioned in a
Yeah,
year.
Yes.
decommissioned in a year. So that's a sacrificial lamb, obviously. False flag. Israel's going to launch some sort of hypersonic missile, which they claim they don't have, but Iran does, hit the ship. But here's what I think is really going to turn it up to 11. I bet they're going to put a low-yield nuke on there, like 10 kilotons, like that nuclear artillery type. Nothing too crazy, but enough to fucking nuke us. And then they're going to blame it on Iran. And then, here we go, World War III.
Well, hold on. They're going to nuke us?
This is where
This is where it's conspiratorial. But Israel has anywhere from 75 to 400 nuclear bombs.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Iran does not. Israel's been saying for the last 30 years they're weeks away. They're going to have them soon. So it looks like everything's ratcheting down. Israel still wants America to attack Iran. So when that ship gets there, Israel is going to use a hypersonic missile, which they don't have, but Iran definitely does. Put it on there, hit the ship, blow up the strike carrier group, and then that's that. They're going to blame it on Iran, say, oh, look, they finally have them. They used them on us. It's going to be Pearl Harbor 9/11 times 2.
So
right, let me
weapons of mass
explain-
destruction all
Exactly.
over.
Let me explain why that's an absolute nutcase take, and so your video doesn't get one of those disclaimers under it. They're not going to, because we just dropped 13 bunker buster bombs on Iran's, not Formosa. They're on a bunch of their nuclear sites. So we already dragged them into hating us, and they already said they're going to hit us. They do have hypersonic
Well,
missiles.
they did today. They hit some U.S. military bases in Iraq
Yeah, and they're
In
probably
Qatar.
gonna
and Qatar, yeah.
they're probably gonna hit the Nimitz just because they're like, no, fuck you guys. Like, you're coming over here with a carrier group, because you don't just send one carrier. You send like a carrier, I think like a light cruiser and like 10 destroyers.
Yeah.
So it has screens.
Send a fleet.
Yeah, exactly.
Fleet.
And so they're gonna hit the Nimitz probably, and then that's gonna be enough to bring us in. And they want to hit us now because we came in. One, we told them, we were like, we're brokering a deal between you and Israel, and we were like, you guys can chill out. Eventually, we want to get you guys to not have nukes. And Iran thought we were actually being a fair mediator, and they're like, no, like we'll deal with it. Then Israel goes and does that secret attack on them and bombs them whenever, and not just bombs. They have drones that get released that, like, just to be fair to Israel, they have some of the coolest special operations missions ever, where they had like people go and put like drones in like Tehran and like left them there for like a long time.
Exploding pagers.
That was a different thing, but like they left it
That was a
there.
20-year play.
Yeah, I know. And but they like had drones that went out and like individually killed like high up like Iranian leaders, so then they didn't have anyone that would be responding and like attack their air defenses and then bomb them. And so they're like, that is really cool, but that's all like, you're not at war with a country and you do that to them. That's basically a declaration of war.
Mhm.
And so they do that
It's
to
a
Iran.
legitimate terrorist attack.
Yeah, they did that to Iran. Iran starts launching missiles back at them because they're like, hey, guess what? We're not just a bunch of starving Palestinians. We actually have we have an army.
Mhm.
They start bombing Israel. Israel's like, oh, America, help us. We got anti-Semitism and they just hit us for no reason. And then somehow I'm seeing on all these fucking news channels where they're like, Israel has the right to self-defense. And I'm like, hold 1 second. If I were to stand up right now and punch Mike in the face, then sit down, and then he comes over here and punches me in the face, if I get up and attack him again, that is not self-defense. I provoked an attack, and then I'm trying to play victim. And
yeah,
that's what
I feel
Israel's
like
doing.
everyone can see through that. Like, that's like
Unfortunately
it's
not.
not
No,
everyone.
it's boomers.
No,
Boomers
don't
can't see
get
through
it.
that.
my best friend's dad, Jake, or my best friend Jake's dad, I was talking to him about it, and I was like, I don't want to go die in a war for Israel. Like, you have a son that's drafting age. Like, are you not worried that he could get drafted to go die? And he was like, honestly, your level of anti-Semitism makes me sick. You are literally the next Hitler. And I was like, and then like in a sentence later, he's like, I'm not going to argue with you. Your ad hominem attacks are out of this world. And I was like, really? My ad hominems? Which that's like whenever someone says an opinion you disagree with, so you just label them the worst thing and attack that
Yeah.
instead of their idea. And I was like, that's what I'm doing. Because I was like, don't argue like a woman here. Don't use your emotions. Let's really think. I was like, if Israel attacked Iran first and they launched missiles back at them, how is that self-defense? And that's when he was like, oh, you're ad hominems. And it's like, no, a lot of people really don't see through this because they're just watching like CNN and like Fox.
Mhm.
And like there's a
Exactly.
certain group of people that have
that
the
are
same.
not on social media that are just
Yeah, it's boomers.
getting
Yeah.
Boomers and old Gen X.
Well, the people that own the media, their interests align with Israel's a lot. So they're not saying like the truth most of the time. Like they're making Muslims out to be like disgusting people that are like awful. And yeah, I'll give it to them. Muslims are pretty fucking awful. 70% of Pakistanis are inbred. Like yeah.
Real fact, look it up. Gavin McInnes proved it live on Joe Rogan in 2017.
It's pretty
And
hardcore.
being inbred lowers your IQ by like 10 to 12 points, and it makes you more prone to aggression, fanaticism.
That's per generation, by the way.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see how
That's
you
why those
get.
guys in West Virginia with their ears on their necks were eating people.
But yeah, the people that are just watching the news are just getting the people's perspective that are completely aligned with Israel. And that's why, like, the people that own the banks, their interests are also aligned with Israel. That's why whenever you see people attack, like, Israel or, like, anybody, then they get their bank accounts froze, they get slandered in the media, they get put on no-fly list. Because, like, those people that have those same aligning interests also happen to
It's
be
always cloudy where they
heavily,
live.
they happen to be heavily involved with our government and legal system as well.
I love how you're not explicitly naming.
All right, you
They
got me. I'll
own the
say it.
media.
They own the banks.
and their interests align with Israel.
I'm not going to say what ethnicity of the people they are.
Well, they're not an
They're
ethnicity.
Jewish people. No, but like for real, like APAC
They're
is
actually Khazars, Eastern European Khazars.
the people. They're
We're going down a rabbit hole on this one.
Yeah, I know that broke me. I mean, that's why they don't let DNA tests happen in Israel, because they'd see that none of those people have the DNA from that region, and they're just all a bunch of fakers.
The funny part about calling someone anti-Semitic is also calling them anti-Arab.
Yeah,
Well,
anti-Arab,
Semitic
anti-Ethiopian.
Semites
like,
are like
it's a
like,
language.
it's
It's,
like
a
the-
range
region, too.
languages.
Yeah. Ethiopia. That's
Aramaic.
yeah. So,
It
dude,
doesn't make any sense.
but
I love how fired up you get about it.
dude, like APAC, the American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee, I think
Public Action Committee.
Public Action Committee. I think there's like 325 out of our like 525 congressmen that are bought and paid for by them.
Ted
And like,
Cruz being one of them.
Oh gosh.
when you
Blamed on Tucker.
Ted Cruz, yeah, Ted Cruz is
Ted
one of the
Cruz.
Tel Aviv Ted. Fucking
Tel Aviv Ted.
What a
he's
name.
gotten more money. He's gotten so much fucking money from Israel. Everyone has. Trump got like $231 million from Israel. He got $105 million just from Miriam.
Hey, but the
Miriam
Qataris gave him a jet, so come on.
And
It was gold.
And like this is the issue is like I have an issue with any country like influencing our politics.
Yeah.
And like Republicans will agree with me on that with everyone except for Israel. They'd be like, "Why are you so obsessed with Israel?" It's like, well, no, I'm also obsessed with like China's influence on our government. But you just agreeing with me on that, so I don't need to beat that point over the head. But for some reason, the majority of our congressmen being bought and paid for by APAC, whenever you're getting bought and paid for by APAC, you have an APAC handler to where when events happen, they will come and tell you, you need to tweet this. That's why you'll see like a bunch of congressmen are tweeting out at the same time, and they'll be saying the exact same thing. Not
Almost
the exact same.
verbatim, but very close.
It'll be the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
buzzwords. It'll
Mhm.
be like terror attack, anti-Semitism,
Mhm.
and then like they're like, this is Israel protecting the West, and they're puppeting the same exact talking points as Israel. And the way they get around that is by saying, well, this is Americans that are running the American-Israeli Public Action Committee. But the issue is they're lined up 100% with Benjamin Netanyahu's agenda. They have not disagreed with him on anything. So if they're saying the exact same thing as that government is known for spying on us. They're known for spying on everybody. But
So are we.
yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
Fair.
To
We
be
all are.
fair.
The problem is we influence their politics very publicly. Theirs is far more private.
Yeah.
And
Where you might go to an island with a guy
Mhm.
Yeah,
as a
exactly.
billionaire, and
And
then
a
when you're on the
Mossad
way,
agent.
And a Mossad agent.
yeah,
Well, I mean, hey, but like Israelis aren't all bad. Like they love to dance.
yeah,
dancing Israelis.
Israelis are some of the best dancers in the world.
Look it up, folks. Dancing Israelis.
Israelis.
Do you know about that?
No, but it's just funny.
Well,
So-
it's,
oh,
it's
I'm
even
glad-
funnier that you don't know.
So whenever 9/11 happened,
Look it up, Kenzie. Dancing Israelis.
Like they have dances.
You'll see.
Let me
You'll see.
explain.
Like this.
It's
kind
not
of
a sex thing.
Let's not just
Don't
keep it in
worry,
the
it's
air.
not
we'll,
like-
we'll say it. So basically, when 9/11 happened, there was these people on a parking garage in New Jersey, and they were watching the towers, and
They were
they were
videotaping
dancing.
it.
They were dancing, like celebrating, like seriously celebrating. So some lady like calls the cops because they look kind of Arab because they're Israelis. She calls the cops. The cops catch up to them because she gives a description of the van, arrest them, and it turns out all 5 of them are Israelis. And when they do a little deep dive with the FBI, they find out 2 of them are Mossad agents.
At least two.
Yeah.
At least 2. And so they get arrested. Eventually, they end up getting released back to Israel. 2 of them that weren't the Mossad agents go on like a TV show in Israel, and they're like, "What were you guys doing there?" And they're like, "Oh, we were there to document the events of the day." And it's like,
How'd you know about that?
Yeah.
and we know that Israel knew about it. The Saudis also knew about it because Mohammed Atta, not Mohammed Atta, it was Alfred Zabeda. He had like a notebook where there's a lot of details that go into this, but he had a notebook where he like would write letters to himself as a kid, and they were trying to be like, "Oh, he's crazy," but he's like, "Hey," when he's talking to a younger version of himself, he's like, don't be disrespectful to your elders. Like, you made this mistake, don't do that. But like, he would have notes like that, but then randomly it would be like the number of like a Saudi prince, and
Yeah.
like it would be like, so the Saudis knew about it, the Israelis definitely knew about it, and it's like a lot of people have a conspiracy theory that the Israelis did it, which
Because
I
9 months before, so like I think it was 9 months. It might have been a little longer before. They did a whole renovation. It was a art project, and they were Israeli. They were either Jewish American or Israeli American, like foreign exchange students doing an art project in the 9/11 towers, and they had access to the elevator shaft where the plane impacts were, and they had like unrestricted access to the entire area.
What?
Yeah.
also
So probably planted explosives, maybe not.
And
but
you know what? America
seems
had to
like
know
it.
something about it as well, because Wall Street had the biggest short on like market history on United and Delta, the flights that were used to crash into it. So Wall Street knew about it.
And the owner of the building pulled
Larry
out terrorism
Silverstein.
insurance like a month before it happened. and
Larry
made-
Silverstein, which
yeah,
uh,
lucky
I
Larry.
don't know what he is, but
Lucky Larry.
he actually ate breakfast and like one of the higher floors of that building every day. Every day he'd be in there at the exact same time. But 9/11 on that day, he just happened to be busy.
He had to go to a doctor's
Yeah.
appointment.
Yeah,
Doctor's
yeah, that's
appointment.
right. So he missed out on it. And the reason that people are like, why would he want his buildings to get destroyed? One, the insurance policy. Two, a lot of people don't know this. The World Trade Centers, you can look this up, by the way, were completely contaminated with asbestos.
Yeah.
No one wanted to rent rooms in there, so they needed to demolish them. And they're like, oh, well, I mean, this is conspiratorial, but it's like, I need my buildings demolished. I could get a giant payout. And
I know the
Larry
Mossad.
Silverstein is
I know the
yeah.
Well, it's, when you're looking at a crime, you want to find who's most incentivized to do it. right?
Exactly.
What's the motive behind
And
it?
sometimes that can be blurry because like you could set someone up. The Arabs were set up 100%. Like and I'm not like some pro Iraq. Like I don't think Saddam was great. I don't think the Taliban is
Why
good.
not? We put him there.
Right? Exactly. But like we literally just pointed the finger at them, and everyone was so angry. It's like, oh yeah, we'll go after those guys because it's like, sure, did they have probable cause? Sure. Did Saddam Hussein, release his letter, and there was the 9/11 bombings in like 98 in the parking or 93 in the parking garage. That happened. They tried to take him down once before, supposedly them. But like the Saudi family was very close with Mossad. That's a known thing. Osama bin Laden was a Nepo baby. His
Yeah.
dad was a billionaire
His
Saudi.
dad was the biggest military. He would build the military bases over there.
Yeah.
And
They're
for
also friends with the Bushes.
yeah,
Exactly. So there's just like there's way too many behind the scene things going on that are pointing at people other than who we were told did it. Like, did the planes fly into the tower? Yeah, obviously. But jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams. Like, that's a thing we know.
And
We
also,
know that.
with the people that hijacked the plane back, the ones that are making the calls. Have you ever tried to make a call in an airplane?
No.
Well, this is back when they had
Well,
phones in the airplane. You
This
could
is also
pull
when you were
off.
allowed to do that. You didn't have
I
airplane
didn't even
mode.
know that they had that.
Yeah, they had phones on the planes. So like you have like a phone.
You know,
on
like
the
the
back
little
of the
black
seat in front of
boxes.
you?
They still
in
have
the-
that?
No, those
Oh,
went out in
okay.
like 04 probably.
The little black
Oh.
boxes that they have in like
Yeah, the
the,
flight recorders.
yeah, they have those, and they're like encased in like one layer of like galvanized steel.
Oh yeah.
One like layer of like thick like heat retardant, like that's not the word, but
It
you know,
is,
the-
yeah.
is it? Okay, yeah. Like it's to protect from heat because it's
And
if
there's
a
a
plane
lead
crash.
lining.
And then and then there's another lining of like lead and galvanized steel on the inside. So whenever like if a plane crashes whenever a plane crashes, it blows up. It's made to withstand like the heat of that
Mhm.
or the depths of if it lands in the ocean and goes like I think like 60,000 feet deep or something. It's meant to like be able to withstand that, but like the little black boxes on both of them were not found. But what they did find randomly was Muhammad Atta's passport
Yeah,
at
in
the
the
bottom of the
street.
rubble.
In the
In
street.
Yeah, the
perfect
guy-
condition.
The guy that crashed the plane into the tower, they found his passport at the bottom in perfect condition.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean?
It means they're like,
It was
oh,
planted.
it means that like,
It was a
oh,
plant,
it was
yeah.
this guy. Now we know for sure because his passport's here. Really, the FBI showed up. We're like,
Oh,
hey, look
right.
at that.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
okay, so all of this,
So this all leads to Israel-Iran today, obviously.
We're
This is-
getting
this
lured
is
into
right?
a
But
war.
I mean,
the
are you
same
guys
methods.
actually scared? Like, are you?
Scared of
Scared of going to
Iran?
war?
I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
well,
not.
no. Do you guys actually think that it's going to happen?
Yo,
Like,
for sure. I think it's
we
gonna happen.
I think that there's two paths we can take. One where we're de-escalating our chances of going to war with them, and one where we're escalating.
And right
I
now
think
we're
the path-
escalating.
yeah, dropping a bomb on them after saying we were going to be the mediator in good faith, and then like signing off on Netanyahu being like, haha, Trump knew about this the whole time, and actually he just tricked you with those talks. I think that puts us in a bad spot, not just because Iran. Fuck Iran. They can't beat us in a war, but whenever we're trying to negotiate with Russia or China and they see you just lied to them to
Yeah.
serve your own purpose, they're not going to believe us, and our word means nothing.
Yeah, it erodes credibility, and so all deals are off the table. When you look at Taiwan, it's
Yeah.
fucked.
Well, and like I think what it really is too is once America, like if America commits to a war, everyone else is commit. Like China's invading Taiwan, North Korea's going to move on South Korea, Russia's going to double down in Ukraine. Like
It's
all
a
the
multi-front
conflicts.
That's
approach.
how
Yeah,
you end
Yeah.
up in a
all the-
world war.
and that's what's going to happen. The moment if we commit boots on the ground, that's what's happening. Because we're supposed to be the adults in the room being like, hey, settle down, don't do war. And now we're doing war. It's like, well, fuck it. They're going to do it too.
Yeah.
And we can't fight them all. Like if China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, like all the countries that would have an issue with America, if they really all put their stuff together, we might not win that one.
That's
like,
how Rome
a
fell. They
real thing.
overstretched
But then,
themselves.
No,
but then
100%.
what is going to happen to us? Like if we don't win this war,
America's
Like,
going to be fine. I mean,
They're not
you'll
going to kill
probably-
us.
Yeah,
to
we'll be
actually
fine.
get
Guns
to
per
America
capita.
and put boots on the ground in America. They don't want to do that because, say that we have no military here. This is one of the most dangerous places to land.
Yeah, we
Like
got
imagine
500
China
million
doing a
guns.
landing in fucking Georgia. You know how many people have been like waiting their whole lives to shoot yellow people? They don't want to do an actual landing on us. The issue is that we're involved in a game of risk, like our people in charge. They're like, no, we want to spread our power everywhere.
Mhm.
Instead of actually thinking like, where should we put our power, like where it matters?
Geez,
We're
maybe
like,
here.
Yeah.
The border, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
maybe.
all the maybe the homeless lady outside my apartment that yells "fuck tranny rape" every night. That's what she yells.
Well, she's against it.
She
so we
literally
know.
yells, "It happened to me. It should happen to you." And I'm like, and then I hear cats fighting. Like, no, I want to live in a nice place.
That's it. I'm moving in with you.
oh my god!
Like, why can't we put money to that? You know, to get that tranny her rape or whatever she needs.
Yeah, like this whole "Make America Great" again thing. I was like behind Trump this last election. I didn't vote, but I was behind him.
I didn't vote,
Because
Because
but
he's
I
still
cared.
registered to vote in Georgia.
Yeah. Keep that on the deal. But yeah, I didn't vote, but I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's make America great again. And then like now he's talking about like make Iran great again, and it's like, all right, we did this same thing in Iraq where we killed Saddam Hussein, and we were like, democracy's gonna sweep over, they're gonna be welcoming us. That wasn't the case. It was a long war. We ended up giving them democracy, and it was a Shia majority country, which same as Iran. And they were like, oh, well, then we want a guy that aligns with Iran. And then we were like, you can't do that.
Not what I meant.
Not what I wanted.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing as Iran. They voted in someone, and we were like, we don't like him. We're gonna install someone else. They got rid of him, and then now we're looking at them as an enemy. And people, the last time that Iran ever attacked us was like 1983, I think. They like attacked one of our bases.
No, I
And
attacked one of our ships.
Yeah, yeah.
And
then,
Reagan sent like 4 carrier groups in and just bombed a ton of Iran, like military bases, airstrips, like everything.
And
That,
people wanna
and
talk-
then we left.
people want to
Here's
talk
a
about it like
decade
it's
of
like
work
a-
for you to do.
exactly.
people will be like, oh, well, that's why we should look at them as the enemy. But it's like, well, he had Oliver North selling missiles and rockets to Iran
Yeah.
months after that. So it couldn't have been that bad to him. Why are we looking at it like it's something that's so unforgivable now when they forgave him when it happened?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a business deal.
And I'm like, I definitely am concerned about going to war because, like, if we keep on escalating this, like, people are the same way. Like in World War I, before World War I, people would have told you, we're not going to have a world war. You're being crazy.
Yeah.
Before World War II, they would have said the same thing. That's the same thing that happens before, like every war, is people being in denial.
Well,
They didn't even call Vietnam a war for a long time.
Mhm.
If we look
It's a
back at this,
Military
conflict.
conflict, yeah.
if we look back at this in the history books, we're gonna be like, World War III has probably already started.
Probably started when Ukraine got invaded by Russia. That's probably where they'll date it to.
Yeah, exactly. And
That
it's
was
like
the first
Really?
conflict.
'Cause we're
That'd
backing
be my
Ukraine.
guess.
because the only reason Ukraine is still able to even fight, and I'm glad you brought them up. The only reason they're still able to fight is because we're still giving them shit.
Right.
They like without our stuff, they wouldn't be able to do anything.
It would have been steamrolled like
Instantly.
6 months into it.
And that would have been better for them. Like it's the same way that World War One. In World War One, that would have been a way better war if we didn't join, because they would have actually, if we wouldn't not just
Germany would have
join,
won.
if
Imperial
not just if we
Germany.
didn't join, but if we weren't funding England the entire time, and like the Entente or the Allies is what they ended up being called. But if we weren't funding them, that war would have been over in 1916, and there would have been way less dead people. Europe wouldn't have been decimated, and there probably wouldn't have been a World War II. Like it probably. I'm not saying it would have been great and it would have been all better. Germany would have been the continental power, but like they already kind of were.
Mhm.
But it's the same way. Everyone will be like, no, we're not going to war, and then you just kind of slip into war. And have you
You think
seen?
they're gonna make like an announcement, like
No,
a soft
no.
launch of like,
No,
No,
hey,
there's.
we're about
We've
to go
already
into
committed
war.
acts of war against
Yeah.
Iran by
So we're in it.
bombing them.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, they're
So we're like in,
Congress hasn't declared war since World War II. So if you want to base it on like actual procedure, no. But based on like actual military conflict going on right now,
put it this way.
yeah,
If I were to
probably.
drop a 13,000-pound bomb on anywhere near you in your country,
On Miches Vatos. On
yeah, I would be like, we're going to fucking war. Like, what the fuck?
I would be like,
Exactly.
nigga, we're already in war. They just dropped a 13,000-pound bomb on us. Oh my god, it's so annoying.
But I'm actually afraid of that happening. Like, are you not afraid of getting nuked and going into like a nuclear
no,
war?
no one's gonna.
There
nuke
wouldn't.
us.
So the whole idea of like nuclear war. I mean, obviously, yes, it could still happen, but mutually assured destruction. That whole idea that like staved off the Cold War, World War III,
It
Soviet
also
America.
fueled the entire thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
it basically that's an accepted doctrine now. So like, do I think it is possible nukes could be used? Of course. But they wouldn't be used in the city killing sense. Like that just doesn't make sense. Because if you launch a nuke at your enemy's capital,
They're
that
getting
there goes the
wiped off
world.
map.
But if you load a 10 kiloton nuclear warhead into some artillery and fire it into Kiev in Ukraine, well, no, that if you launch it at like
Friendly fire.
if you
in
launch it
Israel.
at a ship in the ocean, if you launch it at the USS Nimitz, okay, that's a military target. It would be ridiculous for us to then launch a bunch of nukes, and even if we did, that's probably then going to cause Russia to launch nukes because they're going to be like, "Hey, America, chill out." You know what I mean? Like it's complicated to the point where no one wants that to happen.
Just no one wins.
Exactly.
I'm more concerned just about us getting into another ground war where we have like hundreds
Yeah,
of thousands of good
exactly.
young American men going and dying for fucking
20
Israel.
years, spend
Mhm.
$4 trillion on it
Yeah,
all over
Would
again.
they draft people actually? Like,
If
would
it
I
they-
mean,
was-
our fucking enlistment rate isn't high, so they probably wouldn't immediately. But if they
yeah.
needed it, they would.
If it was a multi-front war with China, Russia, and Iran, then
They
yes,
definitely would.
100%. If it was a localized conflict to just Iran, probably not. Maybe they would get to the point where they do it, but the Vietnam draft was so unpopular, and people still remember that very clearly. I don't think the government would risk doing a draft because
There's
that would just
also-
escalate everything.
There's also a precedent set of people dodging drafts, getting arrested, and then being acquitted.
Exactly.
So people kind of anticipate that and go, I'm not picking up arms to die for Israel.
Yeah,
Why the fuck
exactly.
would I do that? It's
Exactly.
stupid.
Now, if there was like again China, Russia gets involved, probably, and if that were to happen, I mean,
That'd be crazy,
it's
man.
gonna be that.
One of my best friends, I was talking to him on the phone like before I came here, and I was flustered, and he just like he lives in D.C. and like they just view Russia as like an absolute enemy, and like no matter what, they are the worst, and those are the fucking scumbags that are gonna actually drag us into World War III by looking at people as like enemies instead of just looking at them as powers. Because he was like, oh yeah, like well, what if we topple Russia? I'm like, topple Russia, get rid of Putin, like. Do you understand? They still would have those nukes that they do.
Yeah.
But now, instead of it being under like a guy that also has a lot to lose, now it's in the hands of some maniac that gets control
Right.
of like
Yeah, it
all
turns
the
into a
ethnic groups in
warlord.
there.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm
That's
like,
who
bro,
rises.
like that is not a win. And like I was like, we have not had a successful war since World War II. And he was like, the Cold War. And I'm like, the Cold War? I was like, the Soviet Union fell because because communism is a poisonous economic system.
Yeah.
They were bound to fail. Did we help them fail by like militarizing and making them militarize faster than they could? Yeah. Did we help them fail by getting Afghanistan to fight them? The Mujahideen and Osama bin Laden?
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. But like that's not a victory for us.
Right.
Because when that started, homes were very cheap, food was very cheap,
Mhm.
the standard of living was very high. Now we're the ones with fucking crackheads in our street, a bunch of homeless people. There's veterans, like people that have served our country that are fucking homeless now.
Yeah.
It's like that in itself should tell you that we are failing as a nation. But people are so quick to go and point the finger, Russia, China, all this. No, let's look at our fucking bought and paid for politicians that are purposely not fixing the shit here and trying to point the finger everywhere else so they can make money off the military industrial complex.
It also keeps a job. That's what they're doing. If you don't have problems to solve, you don't have a
yeah.
use, and we get rid of you.
Well, and that's why the government is as big as it is, because every time there's a new problem, oh, we'll make a new division, and then that division doesn't want to go under, so they're just going to not fix the problem. Like the budget for homelessness in California, it's
Mhm.
like 860 million. When they started that office, their yearly budget was 50 million.
That is
And they've just gotten money
disgusting.
and money.
Proliferated.
Yeah,
It's
and
gotten
it's
worse.
and now they can't get rid of it because so many people work for it. And it's a nonprofit, but there's so many, like it does so many jobs essentially. They're not going to cut it because they're state jobs, and then even the nonprofit people still get some sort of kickback. They're still getting something, so they're just not going to fix the problem. It's only
They're
gotten
getting,
worse.
They're getting paid to help the homeless. So if there's no homeless, they don't have a job.
Exactly.
So
And
that's why
and the
the-
more homeless there are, the more money they'll make.
That's why you see those videos, like the YouTube shorts, where it's like some guy interviewing a homeless guy in San Fran. And you're like, "Why'd you come here?" Because he's like, "I'm from Boston," and he's like, "Why'd you come here?" And it's like, "Oh, because they're paying me $500 a month, give me an iPhone."
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
everything's paid for.
Yeah, and it's like, well, they're bringing more in on purpose. It's like, if you guys want to be a fucking homeless sanctuary, let us know, because we'll send all of the homeless people there. And
That's what people used to do, bus them to California.
Yeah.
That was a real thing.
Yeah, my dad was a cop in Stockton. One of his favorite things to do would buy bus tickets for troublesome homeless people and
Mm.
send them to Oregon,
Yeah.
like just
Sick.
for fun.
like
Just
Salem.
sending them all over the
Yeah.
place.
Like, you're causing problems in my city. Get out.
And now Portland's the way it is
Yep.
because of Stockton homeless people.
I think I have a solution for homeless people.
A final one?
No. I actually do think you
Bulldozers?
should treat them with like respect and shit. And most of them are just drug addicts that like.
Well, that's what I love that Grant is doing. Do you guys know Grant Dutton by chance?
Is he related to John Dutton?
No.
no,
No, he's not.
but he is kind of like a leader in the homeless community here. He
Wait, did they like vote him in?
I
Like
know. I was like, how do
Albert?
I explain that?
Albert just changed his name and
He's
got
the,
homeless.
he's the king of the ring for the bum
Yeah.
fights.
No, he was homeless in Vegas for like 10 years, and he got out of homelessness and he moved to Reno for being in like a sober house, and then he ended up somehow
Starting his own, and then was
Yeah.
like, hey, the way that these nonprofits are running is
Is
actually
this the heroin addict Indian?
no,
Oh,
different guy.
okay.
So
no, he's white.
no,
I'm
he's
kidding.
a fucking gangster though. Like,
No, he's yeah.
gets out of homelessness, realizes these nonprofits are actually like enabling homelessness. How do we solve it? Okay, we need to give them step-by-step instructions and like have them earn more rights. But you don't have the same rights when you enter this facility, and you just have to be
But
okay
he's
with
creating like
That's
a
sick.
rehabilitation program
Yeah.
for them. So
That's-
there's like
that's
all
like
these
an actually tough love that works.
Yes.
yeah.
Because that's the same thing with fucking every drug addict. Like when you're stuck on something, it gets in your mind that I need this.
Mhm.
So there's no way that you are not no way you can, but it's really hard to like have the self control to be like, I'm gonna just go and fix that. And like some people will be like, yeah, well, it's their life, and it's like you should have some sympathy for them. Like that's a sick person.
Yeah.
Like take them in, force them to get sober. Be like, all right, here you have two choices. Either one, you're going to rehab, or two, you're going to jail. Because then at least you're gonna have a roof over your head. You're not gonna be fucking using. You're gonna have food. You'll be fine.
Cause less problems for everyone else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then whenever you get out, it's like, all right, well, try and get a job. If not, you're gonna be right back in here. Because like, it sounds harsh, but like living on the streets is not a way for a human being to live.
No, you don't want people to live
But that's
that way.
also infringing on like your rights too. Like you can't just give someone two choices to make. Like and also putting them back into jail. Like I feel like we need actual criminals in jail, not just like someone who's homeless who's just drug using on the streets. Like I feel like we actually need to be locking
Right, but
bad people up.
We
the
need
issue
labor
you run
camps.
into
I
is
think
a
there
lot of the time the homeless drug addicts are actual criminals because how are they feeding that habit? They're robbing people, they're burglarizing, they're breaking into cars, they're they're doing all whatever they can to get money for that habit.
Mhm.
So if a guy who's a drug addict goes to jail for burglary, he's not in jail because he's an addict, he's in jail because he burglarized. Like that's the
Due to
reality.
Those okay,
addiction.
yeah.
Due
and
to the
those-
addiction. And the addiction is sad, sure, 100%. But like you can't force people. Like you can lead a horse to water.
Yeah. So I kind of want to transition current events, the ICE protests.
The ICE protest.
Because I have talked to people in my life and they're like, what is happening? Like, I don't understand like why they're actually protesting. So can you guys give like your synopsis of like what was going on there?
Most of them just want an excuse to protest. A lot of the time, like over the last 5 years, you'll see like BLM, Antifa, all these groups. Whenever there's a protest, they come out and they essentially just turn it into a riot. So you have a lot of those people. You have a lot of like, I don't know if the people actually protesting are undocumented. maybe they are,
I
but
doubt it.
I doubt it.
That's
Yeah.
easy pickings.
It's easy pickings, exactly. So most of the people you have protesting and rioting and looting are opportunistics, paid protesters. A lot of that you can see video after video of different protests in different cities, same people. Maybe some agent provocateurs, like some government types doing false flag stuff, Antifa, BLM, all those types, and it's essentially. And then you have like your run of the mill socialist, communist, dumb shit lib, whatever. Unemployed. Yeah, you have a lot of those
The
people.
people that aren't there for bad reasons, though, it's because they're like snatching up grandmas and shit when he said it was going to be criminals. And like the way
Well,
they're
if
doing
you're
it,
here illegally, that's a crime.
yeah, well, the way they're doing
Okay,
it,
Tom.
the way they're doing it isn't like good, or they're just showing up at like a fucking grocery store with like masked dudes that are throwing someone in a van. I'm against that generally because I don't give a fuck about these immigrants. It's because this is the government literally setting it up to where they're like, let's see how they react when they do this to illegals. Next, they're going to be doing this to people that speak negatively about Israel. So, like, yeah, Republicans are super quick to be like, hell yeah, go and fucking send the army in there to disperse them. But it's like, that's just the government trying to be like, oh yeah, so let's see how they react. Because then we're going to do this whenever it's your side, too.
Yeah, it's a game of
Kinda.
inches.
I definitely see that, but like the Rodney King riots were worse, and they sent in the military for those too. Like
Well,
there
that was
have
because
been,
they should have been sent out.
right, but what I'm saying is that there are precedences for National Guards being called in to prevent protests. Like for example, if they called in the National Guard in Ferguson after the George Floyd stuff,
No, they had Kyle. They didn't need anybody else.
they had Kyle out there. But if they called in the National Guard at the same stage of that riot as they did for this stage of this riot, Ferguson wouldn't have happened the way it did.
What I'm saying, though, is they're desensitizing us to it.
Oh, yeah,
And-
but
and
the
what I'm
government's
talking
been doing
about
that for
is-
years.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying they're doing now. And this is the issue with them just snatching people up in a van and not giving them due process. Even if you're not an American, as much as it pains me to say it, you still are protected by our Constitution when you're here. You get due process. And, like, I don't fucking like these illegals. I want mass deportation. And, like, my fucking grandma's illegal. She's been leeching off of, like, government benefits for a while. If they deported her, I'd be like, that sucks, but you had fucking years to get your shit. And you chose not to, so, like, but whenever they're snatching people up in fucking,
But
when they're snatching people up in vans and then just like fucking taking them to like undisclosed locations, like that's not cool because they're going to do it to us.
Yeah.
oh, for sure. Well, the conspiracy side of it that I've been seeing a lot of is that like this is mostly it's not organic. Obviously, you have all the groups I named, but
It's
then the
so
agent,
well organized.
it's
Yeah.
super well organized. The agent provocateurs, FBI, whatever, whoever,
Leaving
they're
the brick piles.
yeah, leaving the brick piles, all that shit. But they're purposefully playing it up so that they can introduce Palantir. And that's basically a AI compiled database of every American. So it's basically like NSA spying on steroids. It's not allowed right now, but it's like a Patriot
Yet.
Bill 2.0 thing.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to get that in and use this as a Trojan horse to say, look how bad it could be. We need this. So, we'll see.
That was a dog.
But-
with the cage rattling.
Sounds like a horse clopping out there. What would it take for you guys to protest?
Oh, Jesus, fucking dude, if I'm ever protesting, it's because I don't protest.
Right.
I don't protest. If it ever got bad enough for me to consider protesting, I'm probably joining a guerrilla group and I'm going to be in a militia in the forest because that's how bad it would need to be for me to like get involved. It's just dumb. It's so dumb. Like all these people protesting, all the people it's like you guys aren't doing anything.
Right.
You're just yelling talking points for the side that you fall on. You don't understand the issues. You don't understand why your party feels the way they do about these issues. You just want to be in a tribe. So, like, have fun. Hey, God bless. It's an American right. I think it's good that we are allowed to protest, but it's pointless. Like, it doesn't fucking do anything. Like, what did protesting in Tiananmen Square do? It got a guy ran over by a tank. That's what happened. It
Yeah, but
doesn't
I mean,
work.
now we remember that.
Yeah, because it was fucking sick.
Well, actually, also that guy didn't get ran over by a tank.
No, yeah, it turned.
They got out. They got out and arrested him, but they had like gunned down students before that
Oh, yeah.
or something.
They killed like 1,200 people.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild. So, like, yeah, I mean, protests, if it ever gets to a point, yeah, like I said, if I was ever going to, like, feel inclined to join in on any of these things, it's by the point where it's, like, basically a civil war. And I'm
It's
like,
already
all right.
too far gone.
Yeah, it's so far gone, I'm getting a plate carrier and a rifle out. Like, I'm not fucking getting a sign.
A well-organized
I'm gonna-
militia.
Exactly. It's basically Civil War 2.0. If that happened, I'd get involved in that way. Otherwise, have fun. Do what you want to do. None of it matters. None of it really matters.
I would if there was an anti-Israel protest.
You can start one.
Yeah, I mean that would be. I wouldn't go to someone else's, but if I like got one going where I could actually talk to people and be like, listen, what I'm saying isn't coming from a place of Jew hate. It's coming from a place of like actually what these people are doing.
Mhm.
Like and like I'd fucking have videos and shit and be like, hey, this is a video of an aid station in Gaza where they said that they could get food and instead of food they gave them bullets out of a gun. And it's like
Fair.
I'd be like, these are not good people. They have never been good people. They were. I'm not going to say they were poisoning wells during the bubonic plague, but there are people that had admitted to doing that. And then they're like, oh, that was just an anti-Semitic myth. Then Israel did that in 1948 to Palestinians, and it was government sanctioned.
Mhm.
And
Well,
it's
Israel was founded by actual terrorists.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that is part of their diplomacy. Is like, how do we destabilize everyone around us?
Yeah,
If you
bombing
like
the
G-
King David Hotel, all that.
By
stuff.
the way, if you like jihadism, you can thank the Israelis for that actually, because when they went over to and like after World War One or during World War One, they were moving over there because the
They
British
weren't Israelis yet.
They weren't Israelis yet. They were just Jews at that point. They were Zionist Jews. But they went over there and they were like, oh shit, like these Christians and Muslims really don't like us because we're like kind of a controlling force and like own a lot of this even though we haven't been here for a long time. So what should we do? Let's tear a rift in between Christians and the Muslims. And let's go tell the Muslims like, hey, you guys know about jihadism, right? Like that's basically like dying for
A just
Holy
cause.
war.
yeah, for a holy war basically.
Holy war.
And they're like, the way you should do this is like by terror attacks. And like that'll really get your point across. And so they started doing that.
I'm gonna disagree with you, but continue.
They started doing that shit, and that's where they get it from. They've been doing it since.
All right. If you're gonna cite anything in history, you can look back to the start of the country when we have ships going by. And I forget which country it was, but Muslims were capturing American and English American
Oh,
sailors
you're talking about Libya.
and enslaving them.
Yeah.
And that was
The Barbary
fully sanctioned.
pirates.
Yeah, fully
Was that back
sanctioned
in,
by the
like,
Quran.
The 1800s.
Jefferson.
No. Well, yeah, it was like the 1820s.
I think it was Jefferson.
Yeah, or yeah, so it was way early. It was like 1804, 1803, but it was the Barbary pirates, and they had like modern day Libya, and then they sent the Marines in, and they absolutely kicked the shit out of all of them, and that's why in the Marine fight song or battle song, it's from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, because
Tripoli. That's where
they
it
went
was.
to
Yep.
Tripoli and fucked them all up.
I shouldn't have said jihadism. I should have said terrorism.
Yeah.
Like religious extremism turning into terrorism. That's where that came from.
But that's like religious doctrine that's enshrined in also a core belief. Just like it's othering whoever that justifies like atrocity.
Yeah, but it
Yeah,
hadn't been
but
used for warfare.
I was going to say
purposes
them
since the
blowing themselves up.
Crusades.
What I'm talking about specifically is like them blowing themselves up
Mhm.
and blowing up shit. They got that from the Israelis.
The bombings.
Yeah, because they're like, oh shit, they just fucking blew up the King David Hotel?
King David Hotel, yeah,
Yeah.
and the British Embassy, I think.
And they like shot up a movie theater or something? Or
And
blew
me
it up?
on
No, they put
Thursday.
bombs,
They're
but it
getting
didn't go
all
off.
sorts of ideas.
Or no, the bombs went off in the movie theater, but no one was in there. It like injured a janitor.
Yeah, and they're like,
That
oh,
sucks.
yeah,
Bad
right.
day to be at the
Bad
office.
Oh, don't mind me.
they're like, we see the Israelis doing it, and they just got a country, so like maybe that's how we can get our stuff.
And I mean, guerrilla warfare to that point works.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
always works.
Unfortunately, it works.
Mhm.
So you see it as effective, and they're going to keep doing it. Kenzie, what do you think of guerrilla warfare? Been
I don't
awfully
know,
quiet
I
over
don't
there.
know about guerrilla warfare, but I want to know if protesting is dumb, then what do you recommend doing? 'Cause I feel like protesting is.
January 6th, part 2.
No, I recommend, like, the way I look at it is like I just try to have conversations with people, and like I'll have a conversation with anyone who has a differing political view than me, but I'm going to like not push my belief on them, but basically like debate debate the ideals. And like first of all, if they can explain why they feel the way they do, okay, at least this person probably came to their own conclusions. But if they don't and they just kind of parrot stuff at that point, I mean, that's an NPC. Like that's not a person who's going to listen to critical thinking and real conversations. That's a person who doesn't want to have their worldview challenged, and they're gonna not listen to you and probably shout you down. So it's not worth engaging with. But I'll have conversations with people of any political belief, and yeah, I mean, I have plenty of friends who politically I disagree with, but we're able to recognize the disagreements, and we're still friends. There's no issues. So
Well,
I think you got to just try to shift opinion in your own ecosystem.
if
you
you're
know, 'cause-
saying
To make
she-
change.
Well, she's
Exactly.
talking about change. If you're saying protesting is useless, and you're like,
No, you
talking to one
you affect
person.
no. I'm saying that's like an example of a person. You do that with as many people as you can, like within your own ecosystem,
It's
I
like a
guess
pyramid
you could
How
say.
does that cause
but of
change?
ideology.
If I'm able to change that person's belief system to be more in line with mine, which I think is correct, I'm now changing the way that person looks at the
But
world.
we're talking about people like protesting to make a war stop, and that's not stopping a war.
Oh, well,
How
I
is
mean, as
you
far as
change-
that go, no, that's not going to stop. No, there's no. So
I feel
here's
like what
That's
you
what
would
Right.
she's
like,
asking.
but what
okay. I
you're
see what you're saying.
like, I understand where you're coming from in terms of like trying to change people's mind over time, and then maybe that'll affect the way that they vote. But I'm talking about like if things are really fucked up and people are like enraged by it, they have the rage virus. Did you guys see 28 Years Later?
Not yet. I
Oh
want
my
to.
gosh,
Big old dicks in that one.
Nice.
that
Big
one.
ol' zombie dicks.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
They're called alphas, and they are just the name sticks.
Yeah. Anyway, but I just want to know, like, is there hope for change
No, I
amongst
think.
American people?
I mean, this
Ask
is gonna.
Obama.
This might sound conspiratorial or like doomy, but honestly, I can't picture a world where within the next 20 to 30 years there isn't some sort of Civil War 2.0 in America, because we've just gotten to the point where there's no common ground. I mean, there
Right.
is, but the people who are on the left and the right to those levels, they're never going to coexist in a society. Like everyone who's not everyone, but a majority of like far left progressive people literally look at like Trumpers and people on the right as like subhuman
Yeah, I
Nazis.
believe that.
And it's the same on the other side. Most right wing people think that every liberal or leftist is a bisexual communist, and
They're
they're
not wrong.
They make great
Yeah.
coffee.
To be fair, the
You're
reason
never going to bridge that. So I think once the boomers die, because the boomers are really what's holding it together. They're the last like generation in power that's still around that doesn't have that divide. But once the boomers are gone, Gen X isn't a big enough generation to keep it together. Millennials is where it started. I think that, 20, 30 years, there's going to be some sort of secondary civil conflict in America.
I don't think there's going to be a civil war because usually to get people to the point of willing to fight means you have to be willing to die, and to be willing to die,
you have to
be
get
at-
off your fucking couch.
You have to be. Your life has to be at a certain standard. It can't be at a certain standard, and there really aren't enough Americans that are like.
What if you
willing to
get
die.
rolling blackouts? You get food shortages.
I
you
think
get
that's what.
inflation.
If you got that,
prompted,
yeah. If you got something
That's
like
what I'm
that.
saying. And that's what's good. Like, look at like our debt's at 37 trillion. Like, and it's only going up. Everything we're
we grow
doing
the
is
food
just
here, so like that'd be an issue if we were like China because they have to get their food from somewhere else. So food shortages, I
well,
don't
the
think
food
would be
we
an
grow
issue.
here is corn. Corn is like 70% of our
You
GDP
can live
for
off
agriculture.
corn, bro.
No, we grow feed corn. Most of it's feed corn, not human corn. It's for animals.
Oh my God.
Big
well, I
fan of
guess-
elote.
I guess insects it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're eating bugs. God damn it.
if you just look at all the factors, I don't know. It's hard to not see that as a high possibility.
If we don't have anything crazy like blackouts is actually the real thing that
Yeah, the internet goes down.
not even the internet, but like if fucking China does like a cyber attack, we have like 3 major like transformer
Yep.
stations in the country. Like Texas has one. There's
East,
one for
west.
the east and the west. If they attack like one of those, then shit could get
That gets
really,
apocalyptic
Yeah.
like, really quick, really fucking quick.
Mm-hmm.
because
But-
grocery stores have like a
Because-
3-day
wait, but-
supply.
Yeah.
That's
But
it.
what does that mean when you say that they would attack one of the transformers? Like,
Power
They would
goes
knock
out.
out the power, and the power on the west coast and like the western part of the country would go out. So nobody's gonna be able to store food.
so we would literally get like knocked back.
Yeah, basically be
Hundreds of
like all
years,
the
yeah.
electricity's gone. Most cars wouldn't start because most cars have electric starters now. Anything like pre 04 would probably be fine, but anything after that, you're screwed most likely. So yeah, everything would go out.
And our government knows this. China knows it. And we're just kind of sitting there like, please don't do that.
Oh, and the people.
But
yeah.
if China were to do that to us, we have like bombs in Taiwan that are just pointed at the Three Gorges Dam. Like I dare you.
Yeah.
'Cause we would blow
But
that
if
up.
they blew out the electricity, does the bomb still work?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
it's
in
in
Taiwan.
Okay.
It's in Taiwan.
Okay.
And if they
You
had
don't
the
need
three-
electricity for
Well, that's in
bomb to work?
Taiwan, so it wouldn't, that's not on our transformer.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
But if they launched an attack on the Three Gorges Dam, the rush of water that would come through would kill like I think it's like 50 to like 70 million people within like an hour because the water would be rushing so fucking quick. Like
Mhm.
as soon as the dam broke, I can't remember which one's the closest city. I think it's Wuhan. Like for real, it is.
Wipe it out.
You would be able to hear the water rushing from there, and it's like miles away.
Really?
Yeah,
Mhm.
because it'd be so much fucking water that like would come through.
And
And
it
so,
would
like-
knock out 40% of the power in China. Because
I didn't know that.
the dam produces about 40% of
shit.
their national energy.
Yeah.
Massive.
So I don't think they would do that because like that's the thing about like war with China and Russia and
So
America.
autistic with numbers.
Fun fact.
We all have like ways that we could hit each other and hurt each other really fucking bad. Which is why we should be really careful with this war thing and not just be like, we should just keep on giving Israel missiles just because fuck Arabs. It's like, no, you should just let Israel fight them with what they have and also fuck Arabs.
It's government versus government. It's not people versus people.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I don't want to fucking kill Iranian people.
Yeah.
I don't like them. I don't want to be near them. Why the fuck would I go over there?
Now you're just
Go all
getting
the way over
closer.
there just to tell them I don't like you very much.
Yeah,
then you
do it
go
by
home.
way of fucking AC
You
130.
guys are like on both sides of the field, and Nate's
Exactly.
like, I don't like you.
It's like
what?
It's like, what's your name? Ezekiel. What's your
you,
name?
Ezekiel.
Yeah, that video.
Oh fuck.
I mean, like,
All you
Is
can
there
do is
any
laugh.
optimism? Because it
There's-
kind of
there's
feels
a
like,
ton of
what's
optimism.
the point of living?
here's the optimism. The optimism is that none of that affects you unless you let it until it does. And what I mean by that is you can't live in fear. You got to just live your life.
Mhm.
Go to the places you want to go, hang out with the people you want to hang out with, enjoy what you do, live your life. And then maybe someday it all goes wrong out of no control of yourself, and it is what it is.
Then you get to live through a really cool part of history.
Exactly,
That
like,
sucks,
you know,
but it would be
Also,
cool.
I've
And
been getting a lot of
long term,
pussy
we'll be
recently. I'm
fine.
doing well.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
There's a lot of positives in life, you know. You just don't think about the negative, but there's tons of positive, like comedy shows.
Yeah.
Love doing a good comedy.
This Saturday,
This
come on out.
Saturday. No, I don't have a plug.
Do you guys have anything to plug?
Roast battles.
Yeah.
Oh
Plug up
yeah,
the roast battles.
every
Gosh.
Wednesday.
Oh, Miches.
You're a great host, by the way.
Thank you, dude.
Like,
It
you're
feels
very
fucking awful.
entertaining. Oh, it feels awful?
Well, no, because like this last week, it was like
That was a rough
they
one.
were not fucking with my stuff, but the audience was fucking awesome because they were there. Like I was doing bad, but they kept the energy up, and I was like, you know what? As a host, your job is to keep the energy up, not to do great. Which, as a comic, wasn't great. As a host, I thought I did pretty good,
hmm
but I really appreciate that because I've
Yeah.
had a lot of fun doing it too.
Yeah, no, I think you're a great host. Like, I think you should continue doing that if you can.
Hell yeah, thank you.
Every Wednesday starts at 7:30. Miches Vatos.
Miches Vatos.
Just-
Are you still battling?
Yes. Yeah, I beat Conspiracy James.
Okay.
got,
I don't know if I
first
know
round.
conspiracy.
Oh, so in
He's like a less handsome me with weird tattoos.
Wait, can I say something? When we first saw you, it was at Coffee and Comics, and you were wearing
I
the
had the
trench
duster on.
every time we saw
Hell yeah.
you.
It was
and
the
I was
winter. It's a warm coat.
no, but I was like, who
Mutton
the
chops.
fuck is this guy? Like
Oh,
you were
yeah.
funny, but I was like, you had like an attitude with the
Oh, yeah.
trench coat.
I'm glad you
And then-
fucking said it because
and
I told him the
Hold
same.
on. And then you released the trench coat, and then all of a sudden, like a new personality emerged, and I was like, wait, wait, I'm like, is this the same guy?
Same guy.
Same personality.
Same personality, yeah. The coat just
But it's
makes me
lighter.
look rough.
No,
Yeah,
okay,
it does
see,
make you look
It makes
rough,
me
like a
look
homeless
rough.
person.
Yeah,
With a
exactly.
thank
And
you.
I had the long hair like down to here
It
and the
was
Wolfman
scary.
mustache and the mutton chops.
It wasn't like serving you.
No, I was like a villain in a western.
Yeah.
Will looked he looked like a guy from the 1800s time traveled here and saw a homeless guy and was like, that's drip, man.
Yes.
Dude, Will, when he had that jacket, I told him I was like,
Still have
sometimes-
the jacket. You guys are acting like it's gone.
I was like-
it's coming back in fucking October.
See,
Oh my God.
because Michael wears the jacket, and I'm like, all right, Michael's wearing that jacket. When he puts that shit on, hey, there's two possibilities. Either you're wearing the jacket or the jacket is wearing you. That was what he was doing. I wish I had a Johnny Cochran line to end the episode with. If the glove doesn't fit.
You must have quit.
Yeah, but that, except for if you're wearing a jacket, then I guess you're a
Gents, let's wrap this up. Batteries are going to die.
Let's wrap
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Thank you
thanks
for
for
having us
coming
on.
on,
Thanks
guys.
for having us on. Hopefully we didn't get too deep and
No, that was
real.
fun.
No.
That was
That
perfect.
was a blast.
We'll be employed. We're
That was
good.
fun. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, my boss is going through a divorce. He's never going to see this.
We'll be lucky if he sees you.
Yeah, right?
Oh my gosh. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.